Hello, I'm Dynasty Mirror.
So I reached out to another friend of mine. I said, look, I need to go on vacation somewhere. Where should I go? He said, go to Africa. And not only am I going to go, I'm going to explore a new country. So I went to Tanzania, South Africa, Namibia, Mali, Senegal, Morocco, Liberia, Namibia, Kenya, the Voodoo Festival in Ouida, Gambia, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire. Sierra Leone, Ghana, Nigeria. It's been a beautiful experience, just learning more about our culture, our indigenous culture. So Uhuru means freedom in Swahili. I'm in search of my roots. In finding that, I would experience my Uhuru, which is freedom.
Till next time, Dynasty Mirror. I'm out.
Peace, family. I hope all is well. I hope your what's today? What's today? Friday. Hope your Friday is going well. I swore I thought today was April 1st, but it is March 31st. I'm like, oh, we're already in April. But no, we are a day away from April, meaning we are about to enter Q2. We're about to enter quarter two. Interesting. Very interesting. Is the first 3 months I went by very, very fast. That's what makes this so interesting. With that being said, guys, make sure you hit the like button. Again, please hit the like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. There's a bee at my window. Make sure you subscribe. Also, share. Please share the content. It really means a lot. Again, it really means a lot. When you share the trailer that you just saw, that is the trailer to my documentary In Search of Uhuru. Again, that is the trailer to my documentary In Search for Uhuru. Please go to searchforuhuru.com. Again, please go to searchforuhuru.com and buy your copy of the documentary. Again, and buy your copy of the documentary. I will greatly appreciate it, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for supporting me. It really means a lot. Last announcement, we are rolling to Sierra Leone here in about 3 weeks. We are rolling to Sierra Leone for the citizenship ceremony. Again, for the citizenship ceremony, we are rolling to Sierra Leone. We would love to have you. Please go to Danfo, DANFO, .Africa. Again, please visit Danfo, DANFO, .Africa to learn more. It would really, really, really mean a lot. That's a good question. Where is Ayana? Ayana's been gone lately. I don't know. Ayana has been, she's been gone lately, and I don't know where she. I don't know where she's been. She's been incognito, but we're gonna keep pushing. So please go to Dafo.Africa to learn more. Then we're going to Senegal in May for the Jazz Festival. Again, we're going to Senegal in May for the Jazz Festival. Nigeria in August for the Oshun Festival, and then we are going to Zanzibar in November. So come and roll with us. Come and join us. It really means a lot. We greatly appreciate your support. So go to donfo.africa to learn more. All right, let's see what else we have going on. Okay, let's jump into today's topic. Donald Trump has been indicted for paying hush money to a ex-stripper and porn star. Yeah, so Donald Trump has been indicted for paying hush money to a ex-stripper, not stripper, but stripper, and porn star. Ooh, a lot is coming out. A lot is coming out, but in reality, they're it's a distraction because there are way more serious issues going on. And to be honest, I really think that this is going to help Donald Trump, if you ask me. I think this is going to help Donald Trump, who's going to run in 2024. Because we have certain presidents, Bill Clinton, who have done far worse than Donald Trump, but, they got to walk. That Clinton crime family is by far the worst, but they got to walk. They get to walk. And the black community, they love the Clinton family for some reason. I don't know why, but they absolutely love the Clinton family, which is weird. After every, the 94 crime bill and all the other shady stuff that the Clintons have done to the black community. But hey, at least Bill Clinton can play a saxophone. That's all that matters. Hey, Bill Clinton can play a saxophone. That's all that matters. So let's listen to this article real quick.
Trump was indicted Thursday by a grand jury in New York. It's the first time a U.S. president will face criminal charges.
An indictment is just a fancy way of saying a charging document. There are different types of charging documents in New York. An indictment is one of the documents that we use when we're charging someone with a felony level offense.
The indictment comes as the former president is under investigation for hush money payments made to adult film star Stormy Daniels and another woman who claimed to have had an affair with Trump.
These are individuals, members of New York State, members of the community who are called into jury service. There's 23 of them that serve. In order to obtain an indictment, 16 of them must vote in favor of an indictment. And really, that's just a way of saying that the prosecutor has presented charges to them, criminal charges to them, and they vote as to whether or not there is reasonable cause to believe that the person has committed those crimes. When the individual is brought to court for their first appearance, which is the arraignment, that's when that indictment will become unsealed. And the arraignment can happen in the next day, a few days, but it's typically a pretty short period of time. And it's not going to be weeks or months, especially in this case where it will be most likely arranged for him to self-surrender, in which case there would be a prearranged date that he would come to court.
Trump has already started using the indictment to raise money for his presidential campaign and had recently said that there would be potential death and destruction if this happened.
Just because the grand jury is indicted does not mean that someone has been found guilty. And so Mr. Trump, like any other defendant, is entitled to that presumption of innocence. And so that remains with him right now and throughout a trial if that happens, unless and until the jurors vote and find him guilty. And that's after a trial, so a very different burden.
whether you work in an office, at home, or
So yeah. So yeah, there it is. There it is. So, we'll see what comes from it, but honestly, I don't think it's going to change anything. I really don't. I don't think this hurts Trump. I think it actually helps him. Because a lot of people see through the BS and how they're weaponizing the legal system against Trump. I mean, like I said, you've had presidents do far worse. But, Trump, for the most part, not saying completely, is not a status quo guy. And it's, for the most part, anti the machine. He wants to drain the swamp. And they're like, listen, we can't have that. I mean, Trump, for the most part, snuck in 2020. And they're like, nah, I'm sorry, 2016. And they're like, nah, we can't have this happen again. But there is a video I want to play for you guys that kind of gives an overview of what really. Here we go. No, that's not it. There's a video that I want to play for you guys that, really goes into detail about what's really going on that's important. And we somewhat talked about this on the last show, and that had to do with BRICS. Now, BRICS, that's, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, they are gaining steam. All right. Me personally, I'm not worried about it. But if you have all of your eggs in the basket called America, I would be concerned. I would start paying attention to it because it could definitely affect your pockets, the US dollar. Because what BRICS is doing, or what they're trying to do, is eliminate they want to eliminate the US as being being the reserve currency of the planet. And they're on the way. There are a lot of more countries who are joining or getting aboard. I think I would say Brazil and China. Brazil has agreed to, as far as with trade, to use the yuan and not settle in the US dollar. So it's happening. So we can put our head in the sand and all that other stuff, but and try to ignore it and play it off as it's not a serious issue, but it's coming. And even BRICS, they're talking about releasing their own dollar. As far as creating their own currency, creating their own dollar. So let's jump into that. Guys, hit the like button again, please. Hit the that is you the only creator addressing BRICS. Yeah, because we're more focused on drama and gossip. Yeah, the people don't understand how BRICS is if BRICS on the rate they're going, because you have to see what BRICS has been able to accomplish in just the last 2 or 3 months. You have to see what they have been able to accomplish in the last couple of months, and all the rate they're going. The US dollar is going to lose its reserve currency status. If that happens, your dollar is going to be trash. And all I'm trying to prepare people for, tell them, oh, they're Mexico. It's like 20 different countries who are like, listen, we want to join BRICS. It's not just Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. It's like 20 other countries. Now you have Saudi Arabia and Iran who want to join BRICS. So there's a lot going on. And let's go ahead and jump into this, because this needs to be talked about. But again, no one is talking about this, which is, again, they want to distract you with Donald Trump being arrested, and they want to distract you with if you're into crypto, they want to distract you with, sorry about that, they want to distract you with it's bad to stake your coins on Coinbase. That's what they want to distract you with. That's what they want to distract you with. And then also they want to distract you with the Ukraine war in Russia, which, I mean, in essence is in essence is really the U.S.'s fault, or is NATO's fault. They sold Ukraine a dream and a lie, and put a battery in Ukraine's back, and now they're paying for it. And outside of that, now you have groups like BRICS who are gaining steam. Here we go. Guys, I'll go ahead and put the link in the chat room too. If you want to call in and add to the conversation, you're more than welcome to. I'll put the link in the chat room. If you want to call in and add to the conversation, you're more than welcome to.
BRICS digital money CBDC set to annihilate US dollars and cryptocurrency. By offering cryptocurrencies as a replacement for legal tender money, Bitcoin challenged the financial system.
That's not what I wanted. Yeah, Trump's now a martyr. I'm telling you, this you guys don't understand. This helps Trump. I'm just being honest. This helps Trump. Trump will win in a landslide in 2024. Here we go. This is the one I wanted.
A 3-stone ring?
I see you eyeing our 3-stone ring. The clarity is incredible. And because we know.
Well, the South African chapter of the BRICS Business Council will host the BRICS Economic Indaba, which will outline the roadmap of the 2023 year of chairship. Now, as South Africa assumes the chairship of BRICS this year, the unique and valuable opportunity arises to sustainability advance the developmental needs of both of South Africa and the African continent's economies. The Indaba seeks to galvanize the support of South African business behind the program of work that's led by the SA BRICS Business Council, as well as to provide business with a broad understanding of the multitude of platforms and projects that they may be able to participate in during this chairship. So for more on this, we are joined by the chairperson of SA chapter of BRICS Business Council, Busi Mabuza. Wonderful to have you on the program. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Leanne, for the opportunity.
So let's perhaps begin by giving a little bit of a general introduction and overview of the BRICS Economic Indaba and what it's actually all about.
Thank you so much, Leanne. I'll start by first introducing the BRICS Business Council, which was launched 10 years ago in Durban when South Africa hosted the BRICS Summit for the very first time since joining in 2010. So we're celebrating as the BRICS Business Council our 10th anniversary this year. It is a...
Hold on, guys. Give me a second. Guys, the video I really want to show you guys, I got to find it. Listen, I'm going to put the link in the chat room. If you want to call in and add to the conversation, you can. If you want to call in and add to the conversation, you can. I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the chat room. And the video I really want to play for you guys, it's not, yeah, Sleepy Joe is asleep. He's asleep. Sleepy Joe is asleep. And Kamala is in, she's pretending like she actually gives a damn about Ghana. You know, like I said, what's going on in Ghana right now with the U.S. being there is all reactionary. So yeah, that's what's going on. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. So links in the chat room if you want to call in after the conversation. Link is in the chat room. You're more than welcome to call in. And again, I want to find this video. I had it in my save. I had it in my saved videos. For some reason, I don't see it. Ugh. It's like this video was important. I gotta find this video because this video covered everything. It covered everything. I need to find this video. But guys, you want to call in and add the conversation, go ahead and click on the link and you're more than welcome to call in. Nah, Trump's running next year. Don't worry about that. Trump's going to run. Yeah, I'm telling you, he has a shot at winning. He still has a shot at winning. You know what? This is going to backfire. In my honest opinion, this is going to backfire. Again, this is going to, in my honest opinion, this is going to backfire. But hey, prove me wrong. You're more than welcome to come on and prove me wrong. But again, in my honest opinion, this is going to backfire. It's not going to help. Go ahead, Blue. Blue.
Yo, what's up, man?
Go ahead.
I was actually just I saw you said you were looking for a video or whatever, so I was just posting a link for you in case you needed it.
Hold on.
But yeah, the whole BRICS thing, man, it's you know, it is what it is. You know, I hope like you speak on pretty often, people just kind of diversify. It won't hurt to have options, you know, and just get ready for what's gonna happen because these people are making power moves, making plays. In one of the videos I saw, they said that and they actually had news clippings on it of American officials going after cartels now because of that possible threat of Mexico joining up with BRICS. That's basically their you know, way to kind of combat and kind of threaten them not to do it. So yeah, there's clips out there on that. And like you said, I mean, it is a thing, but it's not really a thing for our media. We're being distracted by a whole bunch of other stuff while behind the scenes or behind the curtain, you know, there's a lot of shady stuff and dirty stuff going on to try to combat BRICS. But the thing about it is this, right? BRICS is actually, I'd say, kind of more beneficial to some of these other countries than NATO or having an American ally ever has been, really. You know, I mean, NATO's been involved. There's a lot of countries who have been involved with NATO for, you know, 20 plus years, and there's been no direct result or anything positive that's come from that. Oh, you found your video? All right, man, go ahead. Dinus, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. I was on mute. So I'll go ahead and play this video and give my commentary. This is from the Economic Ninja. He broke down what can happen if BRICS gets going full steam. That's why I think the importance of diversification is very, 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 very needed.
Hey, everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing great. Got some information about the BRICS nations. There is so much news right now, and to say that this news cycle is accelerating, and when I refer to the BRICS nations and how serious this is, I'm referring to the destruction of the US dollar and its dominance over the world as the world's reserve currency. People need to understand right now in America how this is going to affect your everyday lives going forward from here on out. You see, for the last 40 years, we have enjoyed, and I'm not joking, actually 50 years, been blessed by the fact that the deal was signed by Saudi Arabia, where they would denominate oil transactions in dollars, right? That's really what started the petrodollar standard. And it was honestly for 50 plus years, actually just 50 years, it was protected by the full confidence of the US military. Now we have seen that change. In the last 2 years, we have seen our administration back down and not stand up to that agreement. Why do we know this? Well, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I showed you how Saudi Arabia completely abandoned the 50-year agreement, literally almost to the day when we signed an agreement with them denominating oil in dollars. Now they have since went on to sign agreements with multiple countries to provide oil to them, and some of those instances are outside of the dollar. One of which is China, where they made sure to alarm the world and tell them what is going on, that they are going to have an alliance or an allegiance with China when it comes to business. They've also done similar things, spoken about this with Russia. Now, we know that the BRICS nations were put together by India, Brazil, China, Russia, and some African nations, and it has been growing and growing and growing. I'm going to show you some articles that should be shocking to you, or maybe they're not, because you understand what's going on and you understand that the dollar is literally dying, and we are now in a world war economically, literally, between the East and the West. This is very serious. Not that it's going to affect you tomorrow, but in the future, it will affect you. Your dollars are going to have less purchasing power, and we are going to see hyperinflation in America. And the reason why is because all of the dollars that were ever created that are being held in central banks right now as reserves for purchases like oil that they no longer need to purchase oil with. They could use their own currency or another currency that's being developed right now between Russia and China. That means those dollars are going to come home to roost, which means we are going to have more currency sloshing around in the American economic system in America, which will create hyperinflation. All right, check this out. Now, it doesn't mean hyperinflation in everything. That's what I want people to understand. They seem to think that this is the time to go get into debt and it's going to be hyperinflated away. There is a time period between which the hyperinflation begins and when a government actually acts and does something, or when corporations have the money because the government has to step in, or the central bank, and produce the extra funds to be able to be paying extra. There is that pain in between, and I'm talking pain. This is when people lose their homes, lose their livelihoods, lose their jobs, because they simply can't afford to go on work and then literally take that paycheck and buy goods or services to survive. Okay, there's a time period. Nobody talks about that because it's not in the history books, but there is definitely a time period, literally in between when the crisis starts and when the government steps in and does something. And that time in between is when you become insolvent. I don't care how wealthy you think you are. If you are not hedged the proper ways, you will fail. All right, here we go. Let's share the screen. I'm going to dive into these stories that we need to be sharing right now. So first off, let's just do a scan of the headlines. A new world order. BRICS nations offers alternative to the West. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the next one being O'Neill urges BRICS bloc to expand, challenge dollar's dominance. All right. This is somebody from the Goldman Sachs group. Remember, we're going against global powers, global entities. Okay. It says right here, Russia proposes to create BRICS geological platform for data sharing. The world order for crude oil is disappearing. This is a break right now you are seeing, since a seismic shift since Saudi Arabia walked away from the US and their agreement. Now they are doing multiple new agreements with other countries. This is very serious. Here we go. South Africa, Putin's ICC warrant and BRICS summit puts hosts in tailspin. So you're seeing all of these stories. Look at all these stories about the BRICS. The BRICS has overtaken the G7 in global GDP. This is 3 days ago. Guys, these are, to say to say that the BRICS alliance is so important, such a big news story, but it is not being covered in Western media is a understatement. It is an outrage to me. And the more you learn about this, the more you're going to start learning. I need to protect myself. I need food on the side. I need water filtration. I need to start getting into God's money, gold and silver. There are people that are buying Bitcoin. I still think that there's exposure Bitcoin to the stock market. So I'm not buying any extra. I'm not selling my crypto, but I'm not buying any extra right now. Okay. But with gold and silver, I see in the future, I see much higher prices. That's not financial advice. That's just what I do and what I think, because I think it has been suppressed for so long. And as a matter of fact, if you start lining up all of these countries in these articles and then Google their central bank and gold purchases, I can guarantee you're going to find one thing. Every single one of these countries' central banks are buying gold right now. So what should you do? What your government tells you is okay. Hey, there's chemical spills and train derailments literally happening every day for the last month. And every single one of them goes, it's okay. It's okay. Nothing.
Hold on, I want to get into another video too. All right, so I think we got the message there. Okay, we got the message there for the most part. And there's a reason why the U.S. government is not talking about this, or U.S. media. I'm sorry. Well, Fox News were somewhat talking about BRICS, but there's a reason why the media is not talking as a whole. They're not Western media. They're not talking about BRICS. There's a reason why. Because this is going to threaten the US dollar. It's a serious deal. I'm not saying panic and, everything's going to go to shit overnight, but you guys need to start taking this seriously in regards to BRICS and what they're doing. Because what they've been doing this last month, they've done more this last month than they've done in the past since they were formed, as far as these agreements, this understanding that, listen, we're going to come up with our own currency to get rid of the US dollar. It's already happening. But there was one more thing I wanted to play. Hold on one second. Let me pull this up. Here we go. 23 Baltimore schools with 0 students proficient in math, yet Maryland ranks top 2 in new study. Maryland was ranked the second most educated state in the country, according to a new Wallet Hub study. Study on 2023's most and least educated states in America comes on the heels of a Project Baltimore investigation, which found a shocking number of Baltimore City schools where not a single student is doing math at a grade level. In this study, Wallet Hub compared all 50 states across 18 metrics that examined key factors of a well-educated population. Metrics included educational attainment, school quality, and achievement gaps between genders and races. Specifically, the study found Maryland ranked behind Massachusetts and Colorado, securing the third highest percent of bachelor's degree holders. Maryland also ranked among the top 5 with second highest percentage of graduate or professional degree holders. Baltimore City has a long way to catch up to the rest of the state. The Maryland State Department of Education 2022 state test results report Baltimore City's math scores were the lowest in Maryland. Just 7% of 3rd through 8th graders testing proficient in math, meaning 93% could not do math at grade level. That's just terrible. And this is the list of schools. Baltimore City schools with just 1 or 2 students proficient in math. Bam, there you go. That's embarrassing. There you go. These are the schools. And okay, so you have a STEM academy. You have a STEM academy with just 1 or 2 students proficient in math. How does that happen at a STEM academy? Can somebody I thought STEM was the new thing. We got to teach our kids STEM. We got to teach our kids STEM. You know, STEM was the hype a few years back. We got to bring these STEM schools into the community. We got to bring these STEM schools into the community and practice STEM. Got to practice STEM. Got to get these kids on STEM. There's something else I wanted to share too for all my people in LA. Hold on, let me pull this up. There's something else I wanted to share. I don't know why anybody would want to live in LA. I have no clue why anybody would want to live in LA. No clue.
All right, California never ceases to...
Highest homeless population. Overpriced. I mean, the list goes on. Here we go.
California never ceases to amaze. We talked the other day about the energy profits gouging tax / fee that the state wants to put on big oil. But that's not all. Now they're taking on big house. A new tax will go into effect this weekend. That would be the highest in the country. It begins on Saturday. It is a 4% transfer tax on the sale of properties over $5 million and a 5.5% tax on properties sold for over $10 million. Now, that is on top of the existing transfer tax. So if you sell a home for $20 million, you're going to owe a new tax bill of about $1.2 million starting on April 1st, which is like in 2 days. We're joined now by Josh Altman. He joins us now. He's a luxury real estate broker in Los Angeles. He's one of the stars of Bravo's $1 Million Listings LA. He's in a car, so clearly he's fleeing LA to Nevada or someplace that's probably a little more tax friendly. Don't drive. And Robert Frank will join us in just 1 second. Here's the thing, okay, Josh. Nobody's going to care if this is, I hate to say it, your clients will, but 99.99% of the country is not going to care if some $20 million house has a new tax, except this also goes to commercial real estate, does it not? And $5 million for commercial real estate is not a lot of money.
Yeah, let me tell you, I'm in my car right now because I got about 24 hours left to close deals before you call it the mansion tax. I call it the dumbest tax ever to come into LA. And yeah, not only is it going to affect the people who have 5 million and above, which by the way, is not a mansion in LA. This is a regular 4,000 square foot home with 4 bedrooms, but this is going to trickle down, which is really important. And it's going to affect everybody, the people in the $500,000 condos, the million house, the $2 million house. And the worst part about it is they're taxing you even if you lose money. Everybody's forgetting the market is down right now. If you bought a house 2 years ago, you probably are in the red. So you still have to pay this tax even if you lose money.
What?
Let's go ahead and bring on some callers. Go ahead, Al. Al, meet yourself.
Good evening, Dennis, and everyone on the chat.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Basically, it's funny because we was talking about the BRICS and the other day, and I wake up to the news this morning in the UK, and they're celebrating, of having a trade deal with the Indo-Pacific, which is obviously one of the BRICS, right? And they were like, "Oh, this is one of our biggest achievements since we left the EU." That's crazy.
You said this is the UK?
Yeah, the UK. They just managed to sign a trade deal with the Indo-Pacific. They're celebrating it, saying it's the biggest trade deal since they left the EU, because the UK biggest trading partner was the EU.
Okay.
And obviously, because of immigration, they were the EU. 26 people voted to leave. Since then, the UK has been stagnant. The economy is just.
I want to say there's these. I forgot the name of the block of Asian nations that said that they wanted to stop using the. I gotta pull that up. Stop wanting to use the dollar. I gotta pull that up.
Okay, so it's going down. It's going down that road. To be honest, yeah, you're right. It's moving faster. The BRICS is coming up, and the last time people were arguing about the gold, and if the dollar fall, where people going to be rushing to put their money on gold. So gold price is going to go up straight away.
All right, hold on 1 second. Let me bring Brandon up. Go ahead, Brandon.
Hey, man. Yesterday, everybody got mad at me as usual, but I just wanted to say the whole BRICS thing. I mean, yes, it is when people invest, they need to diversify. That's what you're saying, Dynas. You're simply telling people, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify your investments, right? I get that 1,000%. But people don't realize that you're encouraging people to do what the countries who are part of BRICS aren't doing. They're not diversifying. They're not investing in a market. They're basically just investing in one country whose wealth is greatly impacted by other countries' willingness to do business with it. If you're joining BRICS, you're basically you're basically putting all your eggs in this basket, saying that China is going to be able to figure out.
Yeah, that's not.
Wait. Can I just say why do y'all get so mad when I say my opinion?
Incorrect, but keep going.
Okay. If I'm incorrect, we should have a show together to talk about this, Dynas. If I'm incorrect, what other countries' economic market within BRICS are all three of these countries investing in other than China? South Africa.
BRICS is just a group.
I understand that, but listen, what I'm telling you is China owns 75% of BRICS. All the wealth is 75% China. The rest is the other countries. The rest of the value is the other countries. South Africa's like 5%. Brazil's like 5%. Real low, right? Their economies are still very weak. This is a China-heavy alliance.
You forgot to mention Russia, Brandon.
Russia's value in BRICS is tiny too. Their economy's not doing well. I really did research to research the lies y'all was telling yesterday, and I'm coming to this conclusion after researching this from my sick bed. This is simply an investment in China's ability to keep growing their economy at a rapid rate. Now, my only question to anyone who's talking about this, and they're going to do this, and they're going to do this, and they're going to do that. So once China hits a bump in the road, which they inevitably will, this is what even their own economists are frantically trying to figure out. What do those other countries do? And when you look at it for what it is, not what we wish it to be, and this is not saying don't diversify. not what we wish it to be. This is simply this is not even an economic agreement. This is just like a little honey hole for rich Chinese, Russian, Iranian oligarchs to be able to hide their money there away from from being impacted by U.S. sanctions. This is like a private bank account that's being opened up by countries that are known to engage in state-sponsored terrorism, oligarchs who are engaged in selling of illegal weapons, all these things that they do, who are stealing tons of money from their governments or from their the population. That they were putting their money in different places. Now, after the United States did the sanctions on Russia and they were impacted, the oligarchs accounts were frozen and stuff. They're like, we need somewhere to put all our money so the United States can't touch it in case of war. That's not helping. That's not gonna actually help anybody, because when their money was in U.S. banks, who are they helping? These people are not. This is not the new world order of economics. These people have no intention of creating something that is going to impact the world economy for the better or to rival the United States. This is a boys' club. This is just for them. And we think it's, oh, we're going to be able to be involved. It's not. I promise you. We could bet, Dynas, today. We could bet $500. Let's give it 3 years, Dynas. Let's give it 3 years. And what I say today will turn out to be true. This is nothing but a private piggy bank of oligarchs from countries that are rivals to the U.S. to just protect their money in the event that the United States tries to put sanctions on them. This is not something that is an economic vehicle for that side of the world, so that people from that side of the world will have a way to do business free of influence or impact of the dollar, or free from subjugation to the dollar. Those places will still be subjugated to the dollar. The oligarchs will have access to BRICS, which is where they will hide their money using China. That's what my humble opinion.
I mean, if let me tell you one thing, Brandon. You see the UK, London is a speculation capital of the world. It's where a lot of the goods in the world are speculated, and London is wrought with Saudi and Russian money before this Ukraine war. Since, in fact, the UK government, they're still really, really worried about sanctioning, some of the Russian oligarchs in certain degree, because they know how much it's going to harm the economy. Just like the Saudis, they can't do anything to the Saudis, even though they was bombing us for years. They can't do nothing to them because they own half of London anyway, right? So what we're talking about here is a potential of the BRICS, having all these countries in there, in the next, for example, 10 years, because that's where the market is going to go. You look at the BRICS and you look at the technology that they're actually coming up with, and the trade deals that they're signing with potential countries. You can see is actually walking to the right direction. Is you can't deny that, and at the same time, that's where the financial market is looking at. They're looking at the mood. If they see all these countries move in that direction, they're like, you know what? Let's start investing in the green economy, for example. In terms of making car batteries, for electric cars, and doing different kind of things, in that sort of sector. That's one of the reasons why America is actually currently trying to work so hard with Japan, to catch up with the electric vehicle, electric vehicle sector, because they don't have that much. I don't know. They're kind of behind when it comes to electric vehicle, because I did mention that the last time. It's these minerals that we're looking at, the future minerals. It's not just oil, because right now a lot of these economies are based on oil, right? They just want to make enough money. America, oil. The Middle East, oil. Even the UK, as we're talking about, like Shell and BP are still one of the biggest income providers for this country. That haven't changed. So if you take Shell away, you take BP away, this country is going to crumble. You know, if you take certain sector away from America, America will crumble. So that's what I'm saying. If you look at if the BRICS were genuine, I mean, when you look at the potential, because I can see it going to happen. With Russia in it, and if you have China, Russia, Brazil, and but I would say South America in general, you know, just not just Brazil. And if Africa comes in there, it's going to be so powerful. No one is going to be able to stop it. The market is going to follow it, and then the West is over.
No,
it's over for the West.
Go ahead, Larry. I passed to Mr. Salmon. Go ahead, Larry.
Hello, Dynast. I wanted to ask you, there was something you said earlier when you were playing the video. You said you wouldn't live in LA or California.
Right.
You were talking about the homeless problem. And you then played the video, which was showing dealing with some economic data. I wanted to ask you two questions. The problem that you're talking about in California, is it happening in Georgia as well?
No, not at all.
And, okay, that's so. And number two, is there a solution to that problem in California that you were pointing out? Can it be resolved within the next 10 years?
As far as the homeless issue?
The homeless issue, but did you also hint at property?
Right. So they just passed this new, I guess, mansion tax, which is in LA, which is ridiculous because, you know, like the guy was saying, if you have just a normal 4-bedroom home in LA, I mean, that's starting off at almost $1 million.
Okay.
Like a 4-bedroom, you know, 2,500 square feet home in LA. I mean, that's $1 million plus. So, you know, so it would be affecting the so-called middle class of LA as well, this mansion tax, if you sell your property, which is ridiculous. And then the question goes, where's the money going? Where's the taxes going? Because then you have this, you know, like I said, LA is home to the highest homeless population in America. I mean, you have homeless encampments like just on the streets of LA, like everywhere.
Yes.
Then you
Skid
have
Row, I think.
Exactly. Then you have Skid Row. So it's you know, it's ridiculous.
So there's no economic solution that you can see in the next 10 years to and when I say economic, I know about the problems with mental health and drugs. I'm not talking about that, but like in regards to when you mentioned the tax and the property costs, you can't see that coming down and in any way to help them.
I don't think LA is, you know, LA and New York, man. It's just LA and New York is funny, man. I don't understand people's attachment to LA like New York City.
I think dynasty is to do with the leftist policy. That's the same thing that we got in the UK. Years ago, it's quite very attractive to own a property in the UK, for example. And also years ago, they wanted to bring the mansion tax in the UK, and the party that wanted to bring it, you know, people just stay away from it. They're like, nah. Larry, remember the Labour Party wanted to bring mansion tax, right?
That must have been years ago because they haven't been in power for ages. Was
Yeah,
that under Corbyn?
Yeah, Corbyn wanted to bring it, which, you know, everyone was like, yeah, it was really very, very popular policy. But then obviously people like stay away from it because obviously that mansion tax could be a property worth from 500,000, you know, upwards. And a lot of houses in London, actually, you know, you see a little terrace in London that's actually 500,000, even in the city where I live. So you can imagine, and what they did, they went around the mansion tax actually by taking the people's houses from them. Because now, if you're retired in the UK, if you own a property in the UK, you reach to a retirement age. You know what they do? They take the property and sell it and put you in a care home, and they use that money to pay for your care. Years ago, you can actually pass that property, you know, to your children's, and obviously you get care paid for by the government. But that don't happen anymore because as we're talking, these countries are falling apart. They can't afford this stuff anymore. So they have to rely on taxing the people, and they say they're going to tax the top, but they end up taxing the working class, and then the rich people tend to take their money away, you know, hide it away from the UK or from any government that's overtaxing them. So they're never going to win the battle on tax. So all these left run cities in the world, because, you know, on the left is very much of a tax kind of policy. They're always attracted to taxing people. That's what the leftist tax. The right is basically letting people get on with it. Don't come to me and ask me for money, just get on with it, which I like anyway. And so they're going to end up losing the battle. So the reality is the West is falling apart. For people that are sitting there thinking these people are going to continue running the world and they're going to continue running the show for the next few years, let them sit there and keep dreaming. You'll be shocked.
Okay, so what, when you say the West is falling apart, you mean like Western Europe, the dominance of America, you believe that they will no longer be able to dominate the economic market in the next 5 years?
You can see it. I can see it slowly but surely. It is, they're losing it.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about that. I didn't know. In the next 5 years, that's a big claim.
Not 5 years. I would say in the next 10, 20 years time, things going to go hard because, where they tend to get that easy money from is no longer there. The easy money is not coming. Years ago, they used to rely on getting, cheap oil from the Middle East, and easy stuff from Africa. Now the competition is very big over there. They got the Chinese. So everywhere they go, it's a trouble. Even the racist man that used to rule us not long ago, Boris Johnson, was in Nigeria trying to talk and laugh, trying to, suck up to black people after everything that he done to us. Because he obviously realized they shot themselves on the foot.
Let me pass it up. Mr. Sandman, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. How you doing? Yeah. I'm not, a huge economist, and I don't know a whole lot about, global economy. But a few things that I do know in regards to the BRIC situation is we have to be careful about the situation because it kind of sounds a little bit like a pyramid scheme to me. And the reason why I say that is because, all right, so one of the countries that's inside of the BRICS is South Africa, right? South Africa, it used to be it was colonized by the British, right? So if they were colonized by the British, and we all know that the United Kingdom is an ally of the United States, being that the United States is in NATO and they're allies with the European Union, then wouldn't it go against the interests of the British to have one of their economic partners go against the United States dollar? You know what I'm saying? And but the main reason why I called in, which really sparked my interest, is you were talking about that school in Baltimore, where
Not just schools plural.
several schools in Baltimore where the kids aren't proficient in math. I think this ties down to an economic thing. And the thing about mathematics is, some people or some kids are just naturally good at it, and it just so happens that the black kids in our black communities that tend to be, naturally proficient at math, tend to want to, take their skills when it comes to counting and mathematics and use that to sell drugs, and count grams so they can sell it on the street instead of, taking their skills to the school and becoming math majors. And the kids that that tend to stay in school who might need a little bit more help and reaching those proficiency levels, their schools in these inner city schools like Baltimore, they're not properly funded to give them the proper resources to get those kids to the skill level necessary to be proficient in math. So I think it's an economic issue because our our schools, our public schools mainly, are funded by the property taxes of our real estate. So if you live in the slums of Baltimore and your homes aren't worth but so much money, and your property taxes in the city of Baltimore annually probably less than $1,000, so you can figure they're not really putting too much money into the school systems, and half of that $1,000, if it even it's even getting paid by the residents of Baltimore, half of it is probably going to other things that it's not even supposed to be going to, other than the school system, like like corrupt politicians spending money on it or going to the police force. So Baltimore has this huge, robust police force that's utilizing the tax dollars from the property taxes, but is not utilizing that money to pay for better books and invest in more proficient teachers that could get their students to that certain skill level necessary to be proficient in math, or even to be able to be proficient enough to get into the business world. So it's like a domino effect of uh, lack of the income, lack of the property value of our real estate that's supposed to be funding our public schools, and then the students that happen to be proficient at math, it just naturally comes to. Because I know like a lot of really smart young black guys, that just don't even go to school, and it's easy to them, and they would rather just be in the streets, selling
Exactly.
drugs or what
That's what I
have
was
you.
going to come at the culture because place like Maryland, I think Maryland is very populated with, for example, a lot of Sierra Leonean families live in Maryland. So when I hear that result between Maryland and Baltimore, it doesn't surprise me because obviously, even in the UK, like the African migrant, the African student or African immigrant, their kids in the UK tend to be doing way better in school than even the Indians and the other blacks and the white population in this country. When the report came out in the UK, a lot of people were shocked, and there was really, I can tell they didn't like the fact that that's the case, but it is still happening. The trend is going to that direction. In Baltimore, I think it's a culture of the African American culture that's been there for so long, and also on top of that, the government obviously want to let that place run down to the point where a house would be a pound like Liverpool. Then obviously they will get the middle class, white middle class that will move in, their children will move in and just buy it out and buy the whole area and leave the black people homeless. That's going to be the future of Baltimore. I can see that without living there. I can see the same kind of thing happening over here also. In terms of South Africa being colonized by the UK, I totally disagree. Because I will tell you one thing. When the late Queen in the UK passed away, one of our last letters she left with the king that's ruling this country now, saying, when I die, the first person I wanted to bring over here as a head of state is a South African president. And now looking at what is going on between South Africa and Russia and China, I can see why she wanted him to come over here. And I saw the King Charles like talking to Ramaphosa, to the South African president, like in a way he's begging him, like, my mom loved your country, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. So basically what he was trying to do, he was trying to coax Ramaphosa away from the BRICS. But he did not listen to the king. And also, to be honest, what I know is recent in the UK, because the king have more interest in the Commonwealth and in black and, colored, how they call it, colored countries, like black and Indian countries. He is actually more soft in terms of, foreign policy, like more tolerant towards people of color or coming over here and so on, than the current right-wing government that we have, because they're very, very hostile towards immigrants and stuff like that. He's totally against it as a king. And he can see, beyond, he can see what's coming, right? So there are a lot of things going on that we don't know about. And I'm telling you now, if you actually underestimate, the BRICS and other countries rising so fast, then you're obviously sleeping. Honestly, things gonna change, whether you like it or not. The changes is coming.
Well, 1 second. Let me anxious man, turn your camera off so I can see who you are first. Anxious man, I need you to turn the camera off so I can see who you are first. Make sure you're not trolling. Okay, well, you're just gonna sit back there. Links in the chat room, guys. Link is in the chat room. If you want to call in and add to the conversation, you can. Link is in the chat room. If you want to call in and add to the conversation, you can. All right, go ahead, Brandon.
Man, somebody called me. I'm on my cell phone. Hey, but the thing with Baltimore, I mean, it's just
hold on 1 second. Anxious, I need to see your face. Okay, not your finger.
That ain't a finger.
Yeah, I need to. Okay, never mind. Go just sit back there. All right, go ahead, Brandon.
The thing with Baltimore is just a shithole, and the culture of Black America is not one that's focused on really education, even being proficient or even excelling in any particular uh, area of education. You can look in the comments and you hear people talking about, you see people talking about, oh, you could just put your kid in online school. Ooh, and I'm homeschooling my kid and stuff like that. Black people in America, most of us look at education like you got to do it. You know, you not like I want to do this. I want to take this and use this as a vehicle to get something better. There's more like you have to go through it because if you don't go to school, the police gonna come to your mama house. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get taken to juvie. You know, truancy police gonna pop up at your house. Stuff like that. So it's not. It's more of a labor, right? That's why you have people like Black people in our community. When something's not right at the school, a lot of them don't even think about going to fix the school or creating the equivalent with somewhere else. We're like, let's homeschool our kids. Let's homeschool our kids. The quality of the education is not really our biggest issue. That's not our goal. Just the fact that we could say, yo, the kid could read, he knows how to read the stop sign, stuff like the general education. That's what we kind of pursue on a large scale. But Baltimore is just a place where look at it. The parents aren't really able to engage with the kids, taking part in the school work and their education as much as they should. Is just ground zero for the state of Black America. And so it should be no surprise that area, the schools are crap. And it's it accounts for a very small amount of the people and schools that are inside of Maryland, right? So of course Maryland can do well while Baltimore does bad. And I don't think anybody's surprised by it, because you're not going to be able to have good schools in areas riddled by violence. How many parents don't even send their kids to school because they like, shit, I ain't trying to have my kid getting killed on the way to school, or the mama might be on dope, daddy might be on drugs, grandma might be old, kids say they're going to school, walking out the door, don't never go. There's a lot of contributing factors, but the only real solution to that, Dynas, you want a solution today?
Yes,
you want me to give?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to give all you Negroes a solution today. Move out of Baltimore. That's it. It doesn't matter if you're homeless. If you're homeless, California will take you. If you are worried about where you're going to stay, California right now is putting people that's homeless up in the Hilton, bro. They're putting people up in the Holiday Inn and the Holiday Inn Express. They took over the whole hotel just for you homeless Negroes to come to California. And there's plenty of money here, plenty, right? And that's why someone will want to live in California, Dynas, because at the end of the day, California is just a reflection of America. There's always going to be the super poor and there's going to be the super rich. And what you're trying to do is find a nice little comfortable place right in the middle of that where you can do well, right? And so this is why people live here, because even though you might have homeless people, which we know most of that is like mental illness, drug use, all this stuff, no one's really homeless in California because I don't have any money. That is not a equation that's not a formula for homelessness, because you can have no money and still get a Section 8 voucher in California and be living up in some nice shit, paying $2 a month for rent. You know what I'm saying? With no money in your pocket. So we are going to have to start migrating away from the environments that we don't like. Not stand there thinking you're proving how Black you are because you're going to stay down for the soil and you from Baltimore. The guy, and I know I'm long with it, but I'm done right here. The guy who does security right here at the Rouse by my house, he's from Baltimore. He's 50 years old. Just moved to California 3 years ago. He said he never thought he would leave Baltimore. But now he's in California. He met a girl online, a lady online. She lives out here. He moved out here with her. He's working security, and he's working on he has a clothing company. I already told this story before. He has a clothing company, and he was like, man, I actually was able to meet like designers, people who make clothes, the manufacturers and stuff downtown LA. And he's like, he works in downtown LA all day doing his clothing stuff, and at night he comes over here and does security, protects me while I shop in the produce section of the Ralphs. I mean, for my collard green sandwich fixings. That guy said he never even imagined he would be able to do something like that. You need to get somewhere where things are happening. You got to get on the cutting edge. And when you look around, like where Dynas live, yeah, stuff used to be happening there. But then liberalism took over, and now it's just a lot of crazy stuff going on over there. California has liberalism, but at the same time, you still got the super wealthy who are gonna basically force people to keep working so that they can keep being super wealthy. And in that environment, you'll be able to prosper, man. You will run into a designer in LA. You will run into a director in LA. It hasn't changed, right, Dynas? You lived out here.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Daniel,
it's all.
I wanted to ask you.
Reyes, go ahead, Ray. Go ahead, Ray.
Oh, Reyes is here.
Okay. Good afternoon. How's everyone?
Doing good.
Can you hear me well?
There's something going on, like you got a fan or something in the background. I don't know. But go ahead.
Yeah. I apologize. Please bear with me. I know Maryland, and I know Baltimore specifically, or more specifically. And when they rank the schooling or the amount of educated people in Maryland, that's a very misleading fact. And in the fact that they have Massachusetts as number one, we all know that's the hub of America's Ivy League institutions. So you have to factor in the students who are there and the students who stay to either intern or stay there permanently, or not permanently, but for at least a brief amount of time. So this is a very misleading list. And for Baltimore, no, the answer is not just to leave there. I understand if some place is not working to your advantage, then yes, you should relocate. That makes sense. But what really needs to happen is they need another person like Marion Barry. Yes, Marion Barry was a mayor of DC, but then all of the policies he implemented created a Prince George County. It created this education, this 76.73 total score that I see on my computer. That's what created that percentage. And then for Maryland, you also have to factor in the fact that they have a bunch of colleges in the surrounding area. So that you have to factor that in as well. So you can't take data.
Can I ask you a question?
Can I just finish this point and then you can ask whatever? Good day, brother.
I'm not your brother.
Okay, good day, Brandon. Here we go. So you can't just take data on face value alone. You have to go on the ground to understand it. So when you look at the poor test scores, you have to look at the fact that Freddie Gray grew up in a complex where they had lead paint chips. That affects your neural behavioral pattern. That's a proven fact. Hold on, you can laugh all you want. Here we go. And I'm not making excuses, but I'm also looking at what I know about the area. I was there no more than 5 years ago. It is like it's always been very poverty stricken. Okay, so you have to factor in everything before you come to this conclusion.
Can I ask you a question?
They're not doing this and they're not doing that. Go ahead, sir.
So you said that if something doesn't serve you, right? If an area doesn't serve you, like in an advantageous way, you move, right? So all the stuff you just listed, paint chips, whatever else you was talking about, wouldn't that warrant someone just moving from that place who wants a better life?
Okay, answer.
The same way you did?
Oh, I want to answer. Here we go. My answer to this is that I could chew gum and walk at the same time.
Here we go.
You could do two things at once. No one should just flee and run because I know you're down
You
with
you
you're
you
Africanist, so you're down with fleeing. I get it. I
you
got you. You
Brad,
can't
let him finish, Brandon.
No, he wanted me to answer. I'm answering.
Ray S is a troll, Dynast. You don't know that by now?
I'm not a
Let him
troll.
finish. I want to hear him. Let him finish.
I'm not a troll at all. I'm actually very forthcoming, and anything I say is verifiable. I don't speak out my ass just to entertain people. You see, I don't call up to panels. So I saw you got people on your panel making like really obscure, weird statements. Like there was one gentleman who said there's a lot of Sierra Leoneans in Maryland, so that could factor into the education rate. That's nonsense. I could pull up the immigration stats for Africans right now, and their highest percentage is
I said
in
maybe.
Texas.
I said maybe because
I know maybe. I
in
know
the
maybe.
UK.
I know you said maybe. That's
Thank
why
you.
I said some
Thank you.
obscure. That's why I
Right.
said some obscure suggestion. Obscure is like a suggestion.
You're babbling.
I'm not babbling. It's English. I know what you're doing, Brandon. You need to chill out and stop eating so much so your brain can work.
Brandon, let him speak, man. Please, man.
So I'm just giving you like ground zero information. I didn't come here to bicker with you. That's not how I am naturally. But am I going to let you coon?
Can I ask another question?
Hold on, Brandon. So basically, what you're saying is that the kids are failing at math because of lead paint. Is that what I'm getting at?
Not solely. Like I said, you have a certain level of poverty and oppression there that's unlike a lot of places. Because let me tell you.
You said oppression. What oppression?
I mean, I can't. I'm not an expert, so I can't.
But you said oppression. Nah. How they?
Okay. Let me give you an example. Let me explain it to you. The Maryland, Virginia area is a very complex area due to the history of this country. You have people there who've been there generations, of course, because you should be educated on how we arrived in this country. So you have a certain level of oppression that's very unique. And that's why my grandmother left Baltimore and went to New York. And I would like to add this point there.
Right. You're being vague. So you're saying that the kids are failing math because of oppression.
You didn't factor in what I just said. I said we have a long history due to slavery, inbreeding, it's very layered. I can't sit here and explain it to you.
Ray S., you are a Jamaican immigrant.
I'm not Jamaican, you idiot. My great-grandfather was.
Hold on, Brad. Okay, Ray. I'm trying to piece it together. So they can't do math because of oppression and lead paint.
Okay. Factor in the fact that I said the historical underpinnings of the area. Do you understand that part? Do you understand, like, Virginia was the first slave state? There were multiple breeding farms in Maryland and Virginia.
Okay, so you're saying that they were, I guess, the wrong breed. So the breed.
I'm not saying the wrong breed.
So they're mutts. They're like mutts. So
no, I'm not saying.
And mix that with lead paint. They can't.
I'm not saying they're mutts. I'm saying it's a very complex, layered area, and that's why they got rid of Marion Barry.
There are,
Brother Ray. Can I ask you a question?
Wait. I just want to say this for the sake of truth. There are zero records of any breeding farms where men was raped or anything like that to ever exist. But let's take Rance's word for it.
Let him ask me a question.
I don't live in the US. I don't live in the US, right? Yeah. But I'm gonna get. Let me give a great example in the UK. Yeah, we have the white population, the white British. They obviously the richest in the group, and then you got the Indians, which comes second. Then you got the Jamaicans that's been here for longer than the other blacks, right? Come third. Then you got the Africans that are the later generation that came here, right? So the Africans are not richer than the white people and the Indians, and they basically when it comes to oppression, black and if you come down to that, black, African and Jamaicans are obviously struggling with the same sort of oppression. So why the black immigrant children that came here are doing better than the Jamaicans that been here longer, that have more, foot in the ground,
Because the Jamaicans are more comfortable and have become, and they're taking.
And why the Jamaican children are more likely to commit crime? Why the Jamaican children are more likely to commit crime and end up in prison, but the African children doesn't? You need to answer those questions before we can move on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Please answer, because the grandstanding. Here we go. I just read an article no more than 2 days ago about Rolex watch robbers in the UK. I've never been to the UK. I'm not from the UK, so I can't speak from firsthand experience. But from that article and the names of the suspects, they were African too. Okay, it was some Caribbeans and Africans. So don't act like Africans over there.
Man, what the Ray? What is that?
Article.
Ray,
hold on. You haven't answered my question.
Hold on. What does that got to do with not being able to do bad in
I want to answer.
What's that got to do with not being able to do?
Oh God, you're gonna grandstand? Yo, Dynasty, you gonna grandstand?
I'm not grandstanding.
That's what you're doing. It's your show. So you want to answer? Because I'm answering his question.
Ray, what does that got to do with not being able to do bad in Baltimore? Hold on, Ray. What does that got to do with not being proficient in math in Baltimore?
So you want to make me look like the bad guy because you want to cut me off.
You are the bad guy.
I wanted to push back against the idea of moving out of Baltimore as well.
Can I answer it? Will you allow me to answer it?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so to answer your other question, why are the African immigrants doing better than the Caribbeans? I would first like to ask, what is your place of origin?
See, Dynasty, come on, man.
Can I ask him, and then we can keep it moving?
I've asked you a question. You haven't answered me the question.
I am.
You haven't answered it. You haven't answered it.
Okay.
And then you're asking me.
Okay, you don't even have to tell me. I could just go off here.
Dynasty, when this man started bringing up breeding farms.
Here we go.
We're talking about schools in Baltimore, bro. You going back into slavery and Tariq Nasheed talking points. Why can't the kids learn math, Ray?
Here we go. I want to answer the gentleman in UK's question.
These is whites only pies, Ray.
Here we go with the cooning. You big.
There's no cooning. There's no cooning.
There's no need to insult. There's no need for the insult.
There's no cooning. You can't answer the question, so you keep babbling.
I am going to answer if you shut
You've
up.
been saying that for 30 minutes.
Yeah, you keep on
no, we already got the answer. I mean, Brandon, you got the answer. They
the
can't
reason Africans do better is because the Africans came.
Ray, you need to calm down.
Hold on, Brandon. We got the answer. They can't do math because of lead paint and I guess slavery.
No, yeah, breeding farms.
Breeding farms, right?
Breeding farms, Dynasty.
And the Caribbeans that went to the UK were poorer than the Africans that came there after they laid the groundwork.
Dude,
that's why they're doing better.
Dude, listen.
The Caribbeans that came there were poor. The Caribbeans that came to the US were rich. I descend from these people.
Here's what you don't.
That's why the African is doing better.
Did you hear him just say he's from the Caribbean? And now he's like, this guy Ray just loves moving the goalposts. Ray, just
I answer this question. I'm gonna shut up.
Ray. Okay, thank you, Ray. Finally, you did something worthwhile. Okay, but all it is, Dynasty.
You motherfucker, shut up. Now, I want that UK guy to respond.
Wait, bro. Hey, it's my turn, bro. You done already cursed.
It was an AB. You
Dynasty, how come I don't even curse like Ray is acting up.
You know why I curse?
Ray, you have to be civil, man. We don't come here to insult.
Ray, control yourself.
Why don't you answer my response?
You haven't answered my question, but you want me to answer your question.
You didn't respond to my response.
Can you come back again? What was the question again?
Okay. Let me tell you why the Africans is doing better than the Caribbean and the UK. A very serious possibility. The Caribbean that came there during the wind rush was way poorer than the African that came in well after they laid the groundwork for Black empowerment in the
US. That's not true.
I disagree with you, bro.
The Caribbean with money went to the US.
That's a lie.
He's making things up.
I grew up with them.
He's making up things, Dynasty. Hey, the whole thing. Listen.
I can look this up and I'll give you articles and studies.
I'll answer the question for you because the Jamaican and Caribbean in the UK is just like the African American in America. Ray, let me talk.
Can you? Why let you talk?
Dynasty, can you? Dinus,
let you talk?
can
Ray,
you?
okay, Ray. Listen.
You know how exactly.
Ray. When Brandon interrupted you, I told Brandon to stop. So let
No,
Brandon
you
talk.
didn't. You let him continue. Stop lying.
Okay. Go ahead, Brad. Ray, go ahead, Brad.
Hey, Ray went on.
I think Ray just dislike Africans. He sound
Ray,
like
I
it,
don't.
innit?
I
yeah,
dated
yes, he
many of
does.
them.
He
Yeah, he
rides with
sound
he
like he
runs with
dislike
Mac
us.
Where are you
Measy.
from? Where are you from? Where are you from?
See what he? This
Yeah,
guy,
because I want to know. I want to
Ray
know.
asked.
I am from West Africa. I'm a Fulabite tribe like
Where
Brandon.
part? Where part? What country?
I'm
We gonna
from Sierra
delete your
Leone.
ass.
Oh, you're from Sierra Leone. Okay, I
Yeah.
got you. That's why you
Delete
got to
your ass.
point out the Sierra Leonean.
I wish this was my channel. I'd delete your ass right up out of here.
Oh,
Hey,
you
There's
banned me
no
a long
need for
time
the
ago.
insult.
Y'all all banned me. I don't come fuck with y'all. You know that. I don't
hey,
care.
well then let me talk then. Damn.
Talk. I'm talking to
Hey,
the guy from the UK.
I'll answer it for you because the
Yes, brother.
Jamaican in the UK, and I've never. Well, I do know some Jamaican. I've been in the UK actually. Damn, and I know some. I know some Congoleses over there, and I know some Jamaicans over there. As a matter of fact.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Okay. Oh no, I thought
Wait,
you paused.
Ray,
Let me respond. You paused.
Ray,
man.
bro, Ray, you got to chill out,
Dennis,
Ray.
you need to mute him for a minute,
Ray,
man.
you got to chill out. Go ahead, Brandon.
Damn, Ray, man, shit. Don't let it.
Brandon, go, Brandon, go.
He didn't get my cornbread, Ray.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Okay. So the Jamaican in the UK is just like the African American in America. You stay in close proximity to white folks for so long. They doing everything. They taking care of the infrastructure. They make sure the water's still running. They make sure the lights come on when you hit the switch. They do everything for you. So you get complacent and you start taking things for granted. And your goal goes from being survival in self-sustain and being self-reliant to just finding a comfortable place up under the nuts or within the framework that these white folks have created for you, right? So what happens is when your kids go to school, mom and daddy is in the framework trying to make money so they could take care of the kids. While mama and daddy is in the framework, they're making good money, so that creates good times, a good environment. Well, what happens? Good times creates weak men, and that's and that sums it up. When the Jamaicans have been in close proximity to the wealth longer, well, that has caused them to create weaker offspring who now take those things for granted. They expect the lights to be on. Have y'all ever been in a house with a teenager? Like I have a teenager right now. Dinus, you're gonna have one day when your son get older. You will really realize how we got to where we were. Because the life that we provide for our children, which is good, makes them soft. Go take your kid and put your kid up next to a kid from the projects. I guarantee you that kid gonna have a certain edge to them that your kid does not possess. Now, if you let your kid leave your kid to their own devices, or you go leave them in the projects, guess what? Your kid is going to be more worthless at the end of the day than the kid that grew up in the projects. Why? Because at least the kid in the projects understand, yo, it's only me. I'm fighting for I gotta take care of myself. Your kid may develop the same lazy habits as somebody who's in the projects or somebody who just gets taken care of and they don't got to worry about nothing, but they will not have that edge, that ability to get up and fight for their own survival.
Brandon,
when necessary.
you're so spot on that. Like the Pakistani children, like for the Southeast Asians that live in the UK, their parent, the ethic that their parent had when they came here, and the way they live and their lifestyle is totally different to the children that are born here. If back in the days, you don't see like Pakistani or Indian flashing, out there driving nice cars, and when like 20 years ago, you probably see it, but now and again. But today, the children that are born here, they're more like British. They flash in their car, they show off, they become more comfortable. Also Ray was lying, claiming that African children are committing crime in the UK. That's a big lie, Ray. The biggest crime committers in the UK are Caribbean children. And that's why a lot of African parents tend to tell their children to stay away from them, you know, which I know is really bad, which is wrong, but they tell them to stay away from them because they're going to end up in trouble.
It's the culture. It becomes
and he's trying to stay away from it because he knows the fact, and that's quite shameful.
It's the black culture that grows in the shadow of white culture, right? There's two different types of black culture. There's one black culture that's in Africa that grows on its own amongst African ideals and principles. Then there's a black culture that grows in the shadow of European culture. Whenever something grows in the shadow, it's not going to grow very big, that's for sure. And it's not going to be very healthy, right? Because it doesn't got access to direct sunlight, right?
Right.
Our cultures are dysfunctional because they're cultures that grew in the shadow of a dominant culture, right? And if you know anything about culture or race or any of that, cultures are designed to strengthen and protect the people who practice that culture. So do you really believe that when you're in the midst of another culture, another group of people, another race of people, you're going to be able to produce something that is sustainable and beneficial to you? You're not, unless you're holding on to the values that you brought with you over to that place. And Black Americans and many Jamaicans, the only thing that we hold on to is pretty much food. But when it comes to behavior, we look at it like, yo, these people, we look at it like, oh, because of what they did to us, we don't have to like follow their rules or listen to them, right?
Yes.
Only problem is when we break their rules, we don't break those rules aggressing against them. We break those rules aggressing against each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, the culture thing is so important because
someone on the chat
so,
was saying,
can I
I
just wanted to say something about the culture thing.
One mic. We passed the bid.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead, Ben. Unmute yourself,
Oh,
Ben.
now you want to stop them? Okay.
Go ahead, Ben. Unmute yourself, Ben.
Yeah, hi guys. How you doing?
Go ahead.
Well, we're here with this big distractionary story today with the Donald Trump, who I'm no fan of, or Joe Biden. But you have to ask yourself this question. People knew this man's record. You knew the connections that he had with Epstein. You knew all the Wall Street money that he had for over 40 years. Why now? But it doesn't make sense. But you have to understand the media created him, and that's what these so-called Democrats think, that they can just keep doing this and keep doing it and keep talking about it and keep talking about it. And that's all you focus on. But we have other issues that nobody's talking about. Nobody's talking about these factories going down, these derailments are going. We just had a derailment here in Minnesota. And you're not hearing about that in the news. You're going to see more. And they said now there's like over 180 banks that are like non-solvent. And nobody has concern. Nobody's concerned. And that's what I wanted to say right now.
Right.
Okay.
Let me pass it to Idris. Idris, go ahead, Idris.
Yeah. Hello, guys. Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just I was listening to the program, and the guy Al was talking about a story that he read, and African kids committed a crime. I mean, we are in a society. Don't you see people don't commit crime? Every segment of this group, different groups that we talk about, would commit crime. The only thing that people are saying is most of those crimes are committed by Jamaican kids, or not Jamaican, not just Jamaican.
According to the UK statistics,
that
came out.
I'm backing you up here. I said,
okay, no problem.
I'm backing you up. I'm saying that Caribbean kids in the UK, most of the crime are committed by them. That is
Thank
true.
you very much. You're
And
very
Can I respond?
but that don't mean African kids don't commit crime.
Okay, can I respond?
But it's just that the statistics is that most of the crimes are committed.
Well said.
Yeah, I can.
Well, you know, Ray, we can hear you, but
Let him finish. Let Idris finish. Stop
Bring
interrupting him.
up the article, Dinus. I put it in the chat. Bring up the article.
what about why they can't read?
No, but you can't use one
the
article to judge a group of people.
No, but Idris, I know, Ray. I'm trying to figure out how this went from why Baltimore kids can't read. I mean, I'm sorry, can't do math.
I already answered that question.
No, we are going. I'm going back to all of that.
Slave breeding.
No. I also said
This
said
guy is
there's a
confusing
certain level
me.
of oppression. It's not confusing.
What oppression?
You're just
What
dumb.
oppression?
Yo, man, shut your cool.
What oppression?
There is a reason people use statistics, though.
I know you're from soft ass Sacramento, so you're a coon.
But we need to let that guy stop shouting for a minute.
You're a coon from Sacramento. I know Sacramento. So that's why you sound this way. That's why you sound this way. You're a soft coon. You're a soft coon.
A coon who's proficient in math. Thank you.
Oh, I'm proficient in math too, but I'm not
Ray.
a coon. I'm not a soft coon. Bring up the article. One of the suspects' names is Joseph or both.
Ray, you can't use one suspect to judge a whole group of people. Come on, that's a joke.
Can I finish the thought? Can I finish the thought? Because you guys are incompetent grandstanders. Here we go.
Right.
Are you gonna let me talk?
Okay. Go ahead.
Here we go. For your claim that most of the criminals are Caribbean, I will.
Oh man, but Ray,
I will concede. I'm agreeing with him. I'm agreeing with him, and you still have a problem.
Ray,
what is your problem? I know you're a soft coon from Sacramento. Shut up. You and O'Shea, soft.
But I can do math. We can do math.
Who cares do math, you idiot? Who cares do math? You want a cookie for it? You want a cookie for it, nigga? You want a cookie?
Proficient in math.
No, but Ray, calm down, man. Calm down. This is
stop with the gaslighting. Let me answer him and shut up. That's your problem. You face to face.
You can't be coming here and be.
Oh my God! You see?
You know you need to be kicked out, bro.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Here we go. Let me answer it. The African is not committing as much crime today because they're not at that stage in their development.
Stage of development.
Oh my days! What's wrong with this?
This guy's confused.
Very confused, bro.
I know y'all don't know shit. I know you don't.
Oh my! Yeah, he goes.
Oh man, where they find?
He went to school in Baltimore.
If Ray's from Baltimore, I now see why Baltimore is failing. I can see now why Baltimore is failing. If Ray is from Baltimore, I see why.
Hundreds.
He said lead paint and breeding on during slavery is why kids in Baltimore are not proficient in math. That we got it, Ray.
That's a shame.
That's
a shame.
The truth hurts, isn't it? You know, we need to wake up. You know, we need to wake up to this. I'm in the UK.
That's right, Ray. He's a Pookie and Ray. There you go. There we go. Ray. There we go. Pookie and Ray. There we go. Ray. And I can see why. All right, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, the statistics. When you go by statistics, it's even though there is crimes that are committed by African, that is true, but we still have the majority of that being committed. And even in this country, we have Africans committing crime, but it's just that it's not as high compared to the total of the population. We have a lot of Africans that come here and do well. You still have a lot that fail, but it's just that you have higher numbers of them. And for me, genuinely, I see why that is, because when you think about it, most of the Africans that really leave Africa until recently, most of the Africans that left Africa were people that were of higher educational level, were of sophisticated family backgrounds, and people that were more grounded and have better foundation. So when they came to the West, the chances of success was higher because they are some of the best people from Africa that were living in Africa, right? So I don't easily use that as a yardstick to beat people over it, because really we are taking the best crop of people from Africa to come to the West, whether it's the UK or the United States. So the possibility of success with
But you
Africans
can,
in the West.
Idris, you can say the same thing about the Caribbeans coming to because a lot of the Caribbeans that came to the UK were highly skilled.
You are right, but what I'm saying though, with Africa, I'm talking mainly on African
yes.
basis, that most of the Africans that left Africa were people with better family orientation, better academic level, and even their kids were already with a better foundation. So the chances of them being successful was high because their parents valued education. Their parents used that success to preach to their families back home. Because when your kid goes to university and a college degree, gets a master's or a PhD, that's a pride for an African family.
Yeah.
So we see it differently when it comes to education and success, and I feel like that's over the years, that's why you get more Africans being but if you notice, there was a statistics that I read that third generations from the original people that left Africa would begin to go down. The success rate with Africans, when you are a third generation African,
is that in the
tends
UK
to go
or
down
in the US?
Most of the West, because what happens is by the second generation, you already get the Africanness of most families. I mean, I would say Nigerians are doing very well with that because they keep that for a long time. But most Africans, by the time you get to the third generation of the African grandparent that left Africa, you begin to get most of those kids being more westernized. And when when we say westernized, they're not taking the best parts of the West. They really out of the West, so they become lazy, and they are not as pushful as their grandparents were when they came here, and also you get these kids, some of them might not even want to go back home. So you get they don't have a reference point from Africa. They are more West than African. So there is a trend that Africans have to look at for that. But when it comes to us and Black Americans in America now, I feel like there's a culture. If you listen to Thomas Sowell spoke about the rednecks culture, that because the Black Americans and the rednecks were in kind of like associated, they picked more of that culture. And part of the difficulties that our brothers, Black Americans, some of them because some are successful, but some of them are facing that they're still down there, is because they kind of stuck in that redneck culture. So they left their Africanness and became more of a poor white man. So it's still harming them.
Yes, Idris. But to be honest, with one pattern I noticed, I'm not here bashing Caribbeans at all. I grew up with Caribbeans. I love them dearly as brothers and sisters, and I'm one of the few African people that grew up with them. I never see them, look at them any different, and I never got looked at any different. That's the reason why I got love and respect for them. However, some of them that been committing the serious crimes in the UK wasn't second generation. Some of them actually came here. Some of them actually were third generation. So it's like a mixture of it. So that tells me one thing: it's a cultural problem.
But Jamaicans are not Jamaicans are African from afar.
Yeah,
but you gotta know they've come through the white race, though.
They're not African, they're not Africans culturally, they're not African, yeah. So, like crime, like I hang around, I grew up with a lot of young Jamaican, they boast about crime, they boast about certain things, and you wouldn't get that a lot from African children. If you hang around African children, the sort of stuff that you boast about, the ego level and the kind of things that you actually boast about is totally different to what the Caribbean children will boast about. And
you're right.
Exactly. So that's the reason. So it's very complicated. It's very complex. And also that's why I mentioned earlier about the Asian kids. They're totally different to their parents that came here, because they're obviously more westernized. You know, they want to drive nice car, they want to flash, you know, stuff like that. But their parent never used to be like that. So for me, I think it's a very cultural issue that need to be looked at. But people like Ray that comes on this platform and trying to argue that fact doesn't help, because if there's a younger boy, you know, 18-year-old, 17-year-old listening to this platform now and having to have someone like Ray defending the truth, it doesn't help. And he's an older guy. He probably got children as well. So
Right.
it's really disappointing. Really disappointing. So
Let me
it
pass.
should be.
Let me pass to.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Chi. Khalid. Go ahead, Chi.
Hey man, I joined up because I kind of wanted to talk about Donald Trump, bro.
Go ahead.
And
Yeah, that's still the topic. Go ahead.
yeah, man. Like I am shocked that people cannot see this for what it is, man. This is like
It's a
political witch hunt against your opponent
right.
to stop them from running. And what's crazy is that these are the things that they was accusing Donald Trump of. You know, they was accusing Donald Trump of corruption and using government systems to stop people from running. And it's just crazy. And if this goes by, man, I think they're trying to start a civil war. Because this is going to really piss off the right and conservatives. Now, this is only if Donald Trump gets prosecuted and actually is found guilty. I don't think he's going to get a fair trial in New York, man. But what this should open up, especially the black people's mind who is just Democrat ride or die. It's like if Donald Trump is such the dumbest man in the world, he's such a pariah, then why can't y'all just beat him in a debate? Why is it that we got to impeach him twice? Why do we have to censor him? And then when the man is out of office, why are we still talking about him? Not, it's just and of course it's some leftist beta male, probably a feminist looking black man. Look at that clown, Alvin Bragg. Look at how this dude look and tell me if this is not one of those charlatan liberal black men who just say whatever the white liberal woman wants. He's fat. Just look at him. He looks really feminine looking, really soft. And his whole beta male persona is, I'm gonna get for 45. I mean, it's like, bro, why does this man live rent free in these dudes' heads, bro? It's like, how does a president draw so much intense emotional reaction? I can see out of women, but black men, that is beyond me. It's like, what did this man do to you to where you're just so, if you see a man with a Trump supporter hat, you ready to fight him? Yeah, bro. It just and I don't like that it's black people spearheading this. I really hate this. That it's a black attorney general, you know, breaking norms. But it's just like what I said. Black liberals are just fodder for white liberals. We are the front line put in to initiate all of their stupid laws. And then our dummies, selfish, just sitting up there taking the heat. And then you wonder why there's these stereotypes. You know, people are probably thinking bad about us because it's just insane. Like, why can't any other race do it? Why does it have to be our race? Why out of all just ask yourself, Dinus, if you notice when Trump got elected, out of all the races who had the most visceral reaction, why was it the African American community considered to have the most visceral reaction?
I wish I could understand like our train of thought, like, but I don't know. Like, I give you another example. So I guess the guy who's over the Department of Defense is a black guy, and they were, you know, grilling him. I forgot his name, and they were grilling him the other day in regards to what happened to Afghanistan, how we pulled out of Afghanistan, how it was how it went wrong.
Yeah,
and it just seemed like these black people in high positions for the government, like you said, doing the bidding of, you know, white liberals and taking the L. You know, it's embarrassing because him. You know, you have the guy, the district attorney in New York, who, I mean, you know, New York, the crime is out of control, and it's, you know.
Yeah, black people are doing well up there. Like, if you look at the poorest areas, it is black people, and it's just like we're over here getting neglected. But our number one issue is just to get Trump out. It's so silly. And to be honest, it's like this is why nothing is going to change in our community, man, because we are too hypersensitive. And also, I mean, I kind of don't blame liberals for advocating for, single independent motherhood and women being independent and feminism, because I'm pretty sure they understand that as long as Black men are not being raised around masculine fathers, they are just incapable of thinking for themselves. They are hyper emotional, and they will, sell out and do whatever, whatever liberal pays them. These Black men will line up and do it, and they will throw their lives away. Like if a white man calls them a name, they can be a businessman, but they will sit there and throw their life away and fight them just because their feelings are hurt. So yeah, man, I think that's a playbook. But let me ask you this, Diners. Do you think that if Trump survives this nonsense, this is going to help boost them to get elected?
I think so.
I think so too.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't think DeSantis has a chance. I think if I was DeSantis, I would kind of be pissed that this even happened, because now this makes Trump the number one contender.
Yeah, but has DeSantis even announced that he was going to run?
I don't think he has,
No,
but I think it's.
I don't think he should either.
Yeah, I don't think he should. I think it'd be
Because
stupid
if you run
does.
against Trump, one, he's gonna be out of the governorship. He's gonna lose. He's gonna lose the primaries because nobody can beat Trump right now in the primaries. But I don't think Trump can win the national. I think it will be difficult for you to get independents to change their mind on him. It's gonna take a lot more. And the thing about DeSantis, I think with the independent, he has a better chance to win than Trump, but he needs Trump at support to win, because then you're gonna need the Republican Party to go full 100% for you. Then you pick up the independents for you to win. The problem with the Republican Party right now, if they go, and not just without Trump, but like if you go and you go basically against Trump, you lose in the election. You can't win the national either. And I think that's the problem they are facing. I don't really believe Trump can win the national election, but then I don't believe anybody can win it without Trump. You know what I mean? I feel like you need that full support of every Republican and independent to win. Because if you think about every idea that's speculating in the general public, it's a liberal idea. It's a liberal coolness, the cool crowd, the most popular opinions in the media, the most, so like it's difficult for a conservative to run right now, because you're running against so many facets of the public that it takes a lot. And my problem with Trump is just that he just have too many baggages, and they just added more to it.
I think he'll be fine. Let me pass it to African Wahala, then we're going to close out. I got to go pick up Mansa. Go ahead, African Wahala, mute yourself.
Hey, Diane, that's the mirror. What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Salutes to the panel. Salutes to the chat room. To be honest, I just came in to say what's up to my brother, Diane Astamir. I have no clue what's going on with Donald Trump, but maybe if I can put in my opinion, a random African person, what he thinks about Donald Trump. I feel like the guy is racist. Well, from what we've seen on social media for the longest time. But at the same time, I still think he has some good qualities. For example, Donald Trump is not on the front foot. Coming to Uganda, Nigeria, Tanzania, talking about, hey, you guys need to be LGBT like us in America. So I respect that about Donald Trump. He seems to be someone that still has values for, family, for normalcy. So I respect that about Trump. Other than that, him being the president of the US, I don't know, man. I wouldn't want someone with bipolar disease to be the president of a country like America.
Oh, Donis is in the panel too. Dang.
Yeah, how's he?
This was a good starter right here.
Well, go ahead and respond to you. You got 6 minutes.
No. I mean, I don't want to. No. It is good. Maybe next time, man. I want to respect you,
bro. The only reason I said he has bipolar disease is because of how he has been portrayed or how he represents himself in the public.
But then you just saying it. You did not say how he was portrayed. You said he has it. There's a
Man,
difference
bro.
between you saying
Hey,
someone
my brother.
portrayed him that way. Come
No,
on.
my brother, you know what? I'll tell you the truth, man. Me, I'm kind of like an extremist. I
Okay.
judge politicians, okay? Because
Okay.
nobody's going to judge these people. So I already judge them by myself.
Yeah, but who do you think is a better racist? Because Biden is a racist also. So
No,
if you
racist,
have,
no, man. They're all
yeah, it's no,
racist,
but
you
you just
know.
said Trump is a racist, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. He
I
definitely
probably,
is.
to be honest, honestly speaking, I probably would not disagree too far from that. But Biden is a racist also. I mean, he's on
Oh, yeah,
camera.
yeah, yeah. Bro,
So
Biden is even worse, bro.
who would you prefer out of the two? I know, obviously, racist is a racist. We don't want them, but to be real, you don't know who's real racist nowadays. There's a lot of people out there that I live in a majority white country. Trust me, the real racist, you wouldn't even tell they're racist because they will not tell you. They will not come up to your face and call you the N-word and and say certain things. It's what they do. Yeah.
No, brother.
More.
No, brother. You know
Yeah.
what? For me, me speaking from an African perspective, the racism thing is not even my primary focus because, fine, yeah, they call you the N-word to your face. They implement all in America, for example, they have all these institutionalized measures that keep the Black Americans from progressing
Stop it, man.
and stuff like that. But hold on, bro. This is not an argument. I'm just stating my opinion. You get me? You don't have to agree with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is, Trump is a piece of S, as well as Joe Biden. That's what they both are to me. Joe Biden is probably even worse because that guy literally sends Kamala Harris to Ghana to be telling them in Ghana, hey, you guys should become LGBT like us. It's annoying. This guy's
Bro.
But
Diners does a
that,
part
right?
2. Please come to the panel, please.
Obama
Diners does a part
started that,
2.
right?
Sorry?
Obama started that, right?
Obama. Bro, they're all trash, bro. Anyways, it is what it is, man. Thank you for having me on the panel, my brother Dinas. I know you're about to go pick up.
Can you please
my
come back
beautiful
to
nephew.
this panel? If
Yes,
Dynas is gonna do
please come back.
please.
I will, bro. Of course. When?
Or we could do this. If you guys don't mind, I'll be gone for like 30 minutes. If you guys want to stay on, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah.
All right.
Just leave a moderator. Where's Brandon?
Oh no, Brandon is gone. But I'll be back in 30 minutes, you guys. I gotta go get my
No problem, brother.
All right, take care, man.
All right.
No problem.
All right, thanks.
But yeah, man, listen, bro. Me, I have no business. Well, I do have business with America because America affects the entire world. But at the same time, I mean, bro, like me, where I'm from in Nigeria, when they presented us with all the candidates to compete for presidency, to me, they're all trash. So I'm not gonna be selecting any one of them.
Okay,
because
thank you.
They are going to fail me. They're going to fail me, bro. So
that's why I said they're both racist. But which one is a better racist? The racist that just let you get on with your business and don't interfere on a daily basis, not dictating on you. Because Trump did said all African countries are shithole, and that did wake up a lot of the African countries. I remember that.
But wait,
I guess.
Did he actually
My brother, did he say something
Did he
that is
actually say that?
less?
Yes, he did.
No, he
say
did not
that.
say all African countries. He did not
It's
say
African.
all Africa. No, he did not say Africa. In that statement, there is nothing African there.
Okay.
He generalized a statement about most countries, including like Caribbean and most countries that are poor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Trump. It's funny that Trump was the darling of the media, right? Until he said, I'm a conservative. Until then. Meanwhile, most of these liberal politicians you're thinking about, he sponsored their campaigns.
Yeah.
And today, and he was a celebrity too. The moment he had the Walk of Fame in Hollywood, they took it down because he became a president. The whole thing about Trump that changed with the media was because he decided to be a conservative. Had he ran as a Democrat, most of these things you will not be hearing.
To me, I mean, some people may disagree with me, but in my lifetime, the president I witnessed that done better, that was actually better, not for the Middle East, but for Black Africa and and obviously the Black American is probably George Bush. Because Bush he's the first person that I've seen living in
For
the
the Middle
UK.
East, you don't think Trump was the best?
No, I don't think Bush was good for the Middle East and Tony Blair. Obviously, they went to the Iraq
Oh,
War
okay,
and so
so
on.
yeah, but you said Bush was the best. That's what I was saying.
No, I said I don't think he was the best,
Oh, okay,
in terms
okay.
of the Middle East conflict and that. But he did brought black people in the top government, and also, and in fact, if you look at what he was up to, in America, like how black Americans were living in terms of racism was down, people were living a better life and stuff like that. And in fact, even in Africa, it was easier for, a lot of people from Africa that with different sort of programs to migrate to the US, to earn a better living and stuff like that. Then obviously you had Obama that came in and he started restricting a lot of stuff, trying to play the coconut
Yeah,
game
you
because
can't.
Obama.
Who is an American here? Who is not? Who is living in America?
I'm an American. I'm
You're living
American.
in America, right?
Yes,
But
yes.
do
I'm
you
born and raised.
feel like what's in the media when they talk about racism is way scary than when you live your normal life with normal people? Because that's how I feel. I don't really like. Sometimes it's like they said, "Oh, you're gonna get killed. You're gonna some racist." And
No, I
I live
mean,
in a very predominantly white neighborhood. I live in a neighborhood where I think it's only 2 of us that own houses in this community, in the
yes,
whole
I mean,
community that are black.
well, yeah, the media is sensationalized. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
They bring up topics that they know is going to give them huge ratings.
Right.
So they're always going to blow it out of proportion in regards to racism. Yes, it does exist,
Yeah.
and it's more covert than it is overt.
Yes, that's true.
And the issues in regards to racism are probably more systematic. That's probably more true than it isn't. Because in regards to systematic racism, I don't think it's a thing where Caucasian people in the United States have something against black people simply due to their race. I think it's more or less them trying to protect their own personal resources.
That's what
They
I
have
think
their own
too.
economic roots, and if you have black
Yes.
people competing with them, they don't want to
That is what I
certain
believe
black people
too.
to
That's true.
move
That's
into
right.
their circle and take business from them. So they're
But you
gonna,
see, I don't
Very
really
true.
think that's why I don't really think it's systemic, right? Because let me take, for example, in my country, there's a guy that's Sierra Leonean on, I think it's Al.
Yes.
Al, take for example in Sierra Leone, right? Your people, the Fullers,
Yeah.
they have a whole community wherein they kind of garner most of the wealth. Like in Freetown now,
Yeah.
you're talking about most of the landed properties
Yes.
are owned by your community. You know that, right?
Well,
Because you guys are buying up. You and the Lebanese. Basically,
our main aim was, and our objective was to kick the Lebanese out, and we managed to do that so far in a large scale.
in some areas, but they still
Yes.
own more than you guys.
Yes, yeah, but that's gone way.
But that's
back
what
to
I'm
the-
saying.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just a group of people seeking their own interest. It don't necessarily mean they hate other people. It's just that you like yourself more. See, I always say this.
That's true.
Why do our government
Are you from
not?
Sierra Leone also, bro?
Yeah, I'm from Sierra Leone.
Okay.
Why don't our government seek our own interests first rather than their pocket? Because when they seek the interest of their pockets, they really don't benefit the general population. So when they go to these international business and conferences, the deals they make, we will say, oh, the white man is no, the white man is not doing nothing. The white man is only seeking the
His own
interest of their
interest.
population.
Facts.
So when they go there and to do a business, and our own people are only thinking about their pockets, the outcome is not at the benefit of the general population of Africa. That's what I believe to be the fact.
No, I
Because
agree with that. I agree with that.
and you see, that's why I don't hurt my head on the racism thing, because I believe, man, my stepdad came to this country, borrow money to buy ticket to come to this country, borrowed money to buy ticket to come to this country.
Yeah.
But today,
trust me, I know we have.
You see the difference.
Not being big headed, but we have borrowed a lot of people money. Like my family, people that are desperately wanting to get out.
Yeah.
And like some of them come back years later. They pay the money back. Like one of our neighbor, they had a visa, no money for the ticket. Borrowed them ticket money to come to the US. Years later, they send like this pura. He sent one of those for my family, as a thank you, because the visa was running out. They was running around trying to get, because things were hard. The war just finished and stuff like that. So to be honest, it's that community spirit also that's lacking. We're not working together as a group. And this is what is affecting Black people all over the world. The white people do that. They work collectively. They work as a group, and, they open banks where they all put their money in that bank. They open schools. They all chip in and build a school in their community for their children to go. In fact, what I noticed is Somalians in the UK tend to do that more as a Black group. The city where I live, the Somalis move like the Fullers. They just come in, they set up their little community, and they open a mosque, they open a school. They don't rely too much on the government. They all chip in, like, for example, £20 a month or a year or whatever it takes. They buy that land, they buy the whole area, and they develop the area. They build houses on it, and they rent it to the Somali group that come in. Does that make sense? So that money stays in the community instead of having to rely on the government or the council to help them out. So us Black people, we don't do that. We're more likely to engage in, competing one another instead of working, as a group. And that's one mindset that we need to stay away from. We need to actually start looking at things differently. And in Sierra Leone, you're right. Sierra Leone is a God gift that we have the Fullers there, we have the Mandingo, we have the Temene, and also we have the Mende as well, because all these groups, they're actually good at different things that they do. Because the Mende are very good at agriculture. Like a lot of the food that we consume in Sierra Leone, it's coming from their land, and they're really good at it. The Timini are very good at business, just like the Fullers. So we work together, like. You know what I mean? So it is, and then we had the Lebanese. But the Lebanese people had a lot of monopoly in the business in Sierra Leone for years. Yeah,
until you guys disrupted that a little bit.
Exactly. And that happened mainly. I remember when the war happened in Sierra Leone, remember those Lebanese that took a lot of their workers, because they used to have a lot of Sierra Leoneans working for them at home, and remember they took those people back to Lebanon, and then they end up treating them like slaves. A lot of them got kicked out in the street. I was in Guinea-Conakry. I was saying that the other day. I was in Guinea-Conakry. Me and my uncle were sat on the telly, and obviously I can't understand French, but they was reporting how the Lebanese were treating the Sierra Leoneans in Lebanon, and my uncle is like, wow, these people were given more priority in Sierra Leone than us in our own homeland. They was given land, they have more access to the minings, they had access to everything. And, when we need their help the most, this is how they're treating our people. We're going to make sure when the war finished, they will never have that much monopoly in the country again. So that's why I noticed when I went there the last time, a lot of the Lebanese, like some of the stuff that they sell, they actually have to buy it from the Fuller people. So now they need to buy from us to retail on, and some of the stuff obviously we buy from them also. But it's that sort of monopoly that we need to take. We need to take back our country. That slogan, we need to take our country back.
See, when you say that, you start sounding like Trump.
Yeah, but we need to. We have to. We need to take Africa back. We need to take our country back. There's no problem.
But now people are beginning to get even more comfortable with the Chinese, saying that, the Chinese are different. No, they're not different. They're seeking their own interest. That's what we don't want to accept, that it's not about these people being evil. These people are just seeking their own interest, which we should be doing.
Yeah.
That's why I don't get mad about a group of people coming to Africa and doing things. No, we only need to start seeking our own interest, and then the difference will happen.
Yes. No, we can do it. If we really want to, we have the, we got the will in there. We can do it 100%. We don't even, that's why I said the other day, we have so much wealth in West Africa. We have so many millionaires. Did you remember Bailo Barry in Sierra Leone? He used to have helicopters that taken around, right? And Bailo Barry, do you know Bailo Barry? The Lebanese were scared of him because of the money that he was, the influence and the money that he had.
Exactly.
And
I'm happy you said the influence.
Yeah,
because he basically owned APC at the time.
Did he? I never knew that. You see?
No, he was very affiliated with the president with the government of the day. Because in Africa, it's natural though. If you want to do business,
yes,
you have to really curry favor with the government. That's basically it.
Yeah. We need to. The government need to be on the side of the business people.
But that is corruption. We know that for true, but that's how it is.
Yeah, but that's wrong.
Right.
It is wrong, but it's gonna take time for us to change that. It's not gonna be happening in a swoop.
No, of course. Bro,
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. Business and government need to work hand in hand.
Let me explain why it's wrong, brother.
Right.
Why should you, as a private individual, have the connect to the government before you can thrive? Sorry, why do you need?
No, this guy already made money. He already made money.
But it's the same thing. What's his name is doing though? Dangote.
Of course,
yeah, you're right. He was like our Dangote in Sierra Leone, actually.
That's what Bailo Barry was doing.
In fact, they went to kill
he
him.
had money, so he uses money.
You shouldn't. If you want a progressive Sierra Leone, you shouldn't support that. That's what I'm saying.
No. I'm not supporting that. All I'm saying is, he was saying the money, but I was happy he mentioned the influence.
Do you want a Lebanese man to be having that much influence instead than the full of that?
My brother.
But Bailo Barry is not there anymore anyway. So
let me answer that question, brother. AL. Listen, you just asked the question, do I want the Lebanese to be in control? I'll tell you the truth, man. I've come to a point where it doesn't even matter anymore. If the Lebanese,
I disagree.
Bro, listen, let me land, bro. If the Lebanese or the China man is in control and I am poverty stricken, versus if the Nigerian wealthy politician and his family members are in control and I'm still poverty stricken, there is no difference, bro.
That is a big difference.
Okay, tell me the difference.
There is a big difference because if you let the Lebanese man be in control, if you let a foreigner rule your country, he's not just taking your country, he's taking everything. Right?
Okay,
so let me just finish. There's a big difference because the amount of wealth the Lebanese took out of Sierra Leone, right? It's billions. If you come to London, they own a lot of properties in London with the diamond money. Let me just finish. You're the one that comes up with it, right? And license for diamond. They used to get it just like that. Yeah, a lot of the diamond that was taken out of Sierra Leone was taken out by them.
That is 100% true.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
so
who made it possible? Can you not interrupt? Let me just finish, right? And then that money, that diamond that gets sold in Antwerp or America or anywhere in the world, that money not coming back. But when Bailo Barry go and sell his diamond, guess what he does with that money? He bring the money back to Sierra Leone, he invests it back in the country, and make sure the locals got jobs and stuff like that. The European government, the British government is doing that. They work with business people. You cannot separate business and government if you want to develop your country. Those days are gone, bro.
But there was a lot of Guineans that made money in Sierra Leone.
Yes,
that went back home in Guinea, and invested their money.
But these are the same Guineans that help Sierra Leoneans when we run away from the war.
I mean, not without our troubles, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. But remember, I know. But you know when the Guineans. Let me just respond to Idris. When the Sierra Leoneans run away from the war in Sierra Leone to Guinea, it's those businessmen that made money in Sierra Leone open their houses to the Sierra Leone and say, come in.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
You're right. So that's why it's still them moving their investments out of the country, though.
Yes, no, that's true. But majority
because you have a lot of beautiful buildings in Guinea.
Before I forget this question,
that were built by Sierra Leone money.
Okay, Al and Idris, I believe you guys are on the same page as far as the statement Al made. Lebanese.
No. I don't support that. I don't support that. I don't support anybody taking anybody using things illegally, which is why I don't support the arrest of Trump here. It's the same way I don't support the imprisonment of Kamarimba in Sierra Leone. And I'm from the eastern region of Sierra Leone, so I'm supposed to support.
If you don't mind me asking, what tribe you?
You see, I'm a Sharif, so guess what tribe that is? You are from
Mandingo?
Guinea. Okay.
Mandingo.
But I'm one of those Sharifs that my grandparents came to Sierra Leone and dwell in the eastern region in Pujeung.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah, Mende,
and
Mende.
over time we
Yes.
turned into Mende.
Boa.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
This
I need to come back to this point that you made.
Yeah, go
If
ahead.
the Lebanese got the licenses to have diamond mines in Sierra Leone, and they made so much money from the mines and took the money away to Lebanon. How did they get those licenses?
They got the Sierra Leone government gave him the license.
And that's the point, bro. So the Sierra Leonean government collaborated with the Lebanese to loot Sierra Leone. Are you following me? So
yeah,
it's
but
not,
and also,
don't do this, brother. You're gonna make me forget my points. Relax. Let me
all right,
bro.
finish. Cool now.
If the Sierra Leonean government collaborated with the foreigners to loot Sierra Leone and leave the people poverty-stricken, why are you supporting them to do the same thing? If you substitute the Lebanese for Sierra Leoneans, because that's what you sound like. You're telling me that you would rather Sierra Leoneans be corrupt and impoverish other Sierra Leoneans rather than Lebanese do that. That's what you're saying. Why
I mean, any human being with common sense would rather do that. Come on, man. I don't know what planet you're living at. You know, why would you like someone from the far? Would you like someone to come in your household and take advantage of you than your own child taking advantage?
Your own child.
Because if your own child, if your own child take the advantage, you know you can. You know you can shape that child. You know you can actually, retrieve that money back. There's a possibility. You know you can actually have some bit of levy. But some outsider that came from nowhere will just come in your country, yeah, and come and have that influence that they was given. And some of these mining lands actually were private lands as well. So it's not always necessarily the government. And a lot of Lebanese were doing illegal mining at the same time.
So wait. The private lands that belong to the Sierra Leoneans, you're telling us now that Lebanese came and took those lands from the Sierra Leoneans without the collaboration of Sierra Leonean government officials?
Well,
the chiefs in the eastern region, a lot of the lands are owned by the chiefs, which is a private land, right? So because we have what they call paramount chiefs in the regions, right? So if you have a bit of money, you know how corrupt Africa is. Maybe that's one of the reasons why you're still struggling with corruption in Nigeria. Because what I learned with you guys, you are very naive when it comes to foreigners in Nigeria. And I see lack of patriotism in Nigeria, and I think that's affecting your country. I think that's one of the biggest problems you have. And we are very patriotic people. We rather have our own people doing certain things. And also, there's in the long run, it is better, because if a Sierra Leonean, for example, if a Sierra Leonean was corrupt,
the only part you lose me on that one though, because
began from.
Brother you lose me on that. You know why?
You're talking about Nigerians are naive.
For me, I don't care who it is.
I can see how you're slightly
should be
throwing in
wrong.
some shades in this conversation. I can see what you're doing, bro. But I'm just going to ignore, okay? Because I'm asking you just regular questions about Africa, Sierra Leone. It's a beautiful country. I respect Sierra Leoneans. I don't like dickheads from all around the world, regardless where you're from. Now, the question again, in case you didn't understand what I said at first. You would rather a Lebanese collaborate with your Sierra Leonean government to make you poverty-stricken, rather than you'd rather a Sierra Leonean government official collaborate with his cousin, his friends and family members to impoverish you, but you won't have any smoke for them. But when they collaborate with Lebanese, then you have all the smoke.
No, it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen anyway. It shouldn't happen anyway, regardless.
Then
but if it's gonna happen,
that's the point, bro.
Okay,
you just answered my question.
What
you just did is
I got your point. I did not listen. I did not get your point. I did not get your point.
Any form of corruption, whether it's from your local Sierra Leoneans or foreigners. If it's corruption, it's corruption. That's my point, bro.
No, I did get your point, because I did not get your point. Corruption is basically bad, period. But if corruption is going to happen, I'd rather deal with my own locals than dealing with some outsider that's going to come inside and take the advantage of my people. Because then within I can control it. And as I said to you earlier, the Africans who are not non-Sierra Leoneans that managed to make money in Sierra Leone, that made money. And for example, as he mentioned earlier, he did point out that, yeah, there's other people that came to Sierra Leone and made money and took the money out to Guinea. Yeah, those people, Sierra Leoneans benefit greatly from those people when the war happened, because Sierra Leoneans were aided by those people, because millions of Sierra Leoneans ran to Guinea, because Guinea is the closest. In fact, Guinea was the only place to go because Liberia was already finished. Yeah. So in fact, my uncle in Guinea, there was a guy called Mr. Lamine. He's a Mende guy. Yeah. He was he studied architect in Sierra Leone. My uncle made his money in Yengema in Sierra Leone. Yeah. So when Mr. Lamine came to Guinea, my uncle said to Mr. Lamine, listen, mate, that house there is yours. Move your family in. And the guy he is actually a very wealthy guy today in Sierra Leone. When the war finished, he went back because he had so many contracts from Sierra Leone, full of people that made money in Sierra Leone, that gave him so many contracts to build houses. And a lot of some of these houses that you see in Guinea that's so beautiful were built by, for example,
Amen.
people like him.
At least you went back there, because that's my problem with all of it. Because when Sierra Leoneans went to Guinea, like Anville, if you go by Anville, by the seaport, by the sea, right?
Yeah.
You notice that a lot of those tall buildings, they will tell you that these business people were from Sierra Leone.
Or
They were
Liberia.
dying
Or Liberia.
Or Liberia. Yes, or Liberia.
Yes.
But most of these people that were businessmen from the Fullers, the Madingos, they never really built anything sophisticated back then. Your family is a small sample. I can use that. I can use the larger sample.
Yes.
I know what your family did that, okay, but it's a small sample to make a judgment for a whole nation on.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, a lot of businessmen we are in the eastern region, in Kono, in Tonga, and doing all this mining, and really invested most of their money in Guinea.
Yes, So that's true. And Gambia for that matter.
Yeah. And that did not really benefit the Sierra Leonean people. So when Sierra Leoneans went to Guinea, they saw that. I'm telling you, a lot of Sierra Leoneans were not happy about that.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I know that, because when I went to Sierra Leone, when the war happened, I left Sierra Leone to Guinea. I know what it's like, because I couldn't speak Fula, right? I only speak Creole.
Oh yeah,
and a bit of Kono, and
they treated us bad too. So
exactly, and the Fula people in Guinea, they will not look at me because I'm Fula, and they treat me any different to you, because
Oh really?
No. They would treat another Susu person better than they would treat me as a Fula, because I'm not Fula from Guinea, and also I don't speak Fula, so that's even made it worse.
So and I don't know who I was telling one day. I said some of my experiences,
even the ID
like that. That's why I don't bother myself with racism, man, because it's everywhere. I'm telling you, man.
So even with the ID card business, you know how many times I got put at the back of the trucks in Guinea, bro, for ID cards. Yeah, we are my brother, and we're both Fulani, so it didn't matter. And it's like that, because Guinea is a different country. Anyway,
they're a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, Guinea is a very aggressive country.
Yeah, Sierra Leoneans are not that aggressive
than any other country in that region. You know that anyway. It's very It's an authoritarian state. It's always been like that. You have to be part of the system, and you understand how to move around it, to be comfortable around it. To be honest with you, by the time I left Guinea, I was really comfortable, because I get to know the people, I get to speak the language, and I start understanding French. And by the time I left Guinea, in fact, I was living at the Minister of Tourism in Guinea, his house, because one of his sons happened to be my best friend. And so I get to meet different people from the top level in the country. And as a poor, I would say I'll call myself as a poor Sierra Leone refugee that came to Guinea, I did not do bad. And this guy, he wasn't even a Fula guy. He was from the Landuma tribe, they call them, yeah. And and because we were neighbors, and the other guy was a Susu guy, so we kind of get on so well, and we actually I lived a good life in Guinea for a little bit while I was there. So it's all to do with understanding the place, the culture. It's all that's in general anywhere you go. But when it comes to racism, we should put that away, because racism, is a big thing that's against us. Is a big odd that's against us globally. So
No, but what's the difference between racism and tribalism in Africa? A lot of Africans will be more afraid of tribalism than racism, because it impacts us more directly than racism. And it's silly when we even try to compare. It's the same thing. It's different. That's what it is.
Yeah, but the thing is, tribalism, I don't know. I think
tribalism killed almost 1 million people within how many months in Rwanda? Stop it, man.
Yeah.
Okay, guy. Okay, wait, hold on, bro. Let me say something about racism and tribalism. In my opinion, they are almost the same. The only reason why racism has thrived the way it has is because in Africa, where we Black people come from, our leaders, for the most part, have maintained that status quo where we are always waiting for everybody else to do stuff before we can. And unfortunately, they don't take us seriously. You find our politicians, if you want to get rich, just look at politics for the most part.
That's
become
it.
a
Amen.
billionaire, then you take the money outside the continent. And then when you take the money outside of Europe, you take care of yourself medically in Europe, in America, in Asia. It's the same thing. And we, the African people that are the victims of this situation, because we are fighting against racism, we forget that our leaders that enjoy the benefits of our poverty, that our leaders that live in America, in Europe, that their kids live in America, Europe, they are billionaires. We realize that we are fighting against the white man or the China man or wherever, simply because we are focusing on racism. But the point is, we are being treated unfairly by our people also in Africa, and I feel like they're both the same.
Yes, I think that's the reason why. That's the reason why Africans they tend to be more tolerant towards racism than other Black groups, and I can see why. Because in Africa, you already been exposed to that othering. Saying, oh, you belong to this tribe, you belong. But the one good thing about being a Sierra Leonean, I never had that. I never.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. My brother, you're wrong. You have not really been. You have. I don't think. Are you seeing what's happening in our country now?
No, now
it's
totally different. Now I don't even recognize that place, bro. But growing up
even during the war, we almost got into war.
Before the
we
war,
almost got into tribal war. That war almost turned tribal. I'm telling you.
I don't know, man. I never expect. Not
my
one
brother.
time.
I'm a Mende. I speak Mende.
Yes.
We went the Kamajors. Let me tell you, because I was in K school.
I know the Kamajor.
I was in K school.
Yeah.
And they were when Air France overthrew Kaba.
Yeah.
Remember the RAF came to town, so they merged with the Sierra Leone armed forces.
Yeah.
So when they merged, okay, my stepmom was one of the politicians in Kenema for SLPP. So they said, "Oh, let's hide." So we went to the Kamajor base in Banda. There's a town. Okay. So we went to Banda, and I walked over the Kambu Hill, went down and walked towards Banda, and then we went to a village behind Banda where we stayed, because that was a Kamajor stronghold at the time, and it was fairly secure. So when we climbed the hill over Kambu, they ambushed us right at the moment we came down, and we are walking under that forest.
Yeah.
So when we are walking in that forest, they stopped us. And guess what these idiots we are talking about?
No.
And I grew up most of my life in Freetown.
Yeah.
So my Mende had accent, like he had the Creole accent and English accent into it. Because I grew up speaking English, hardly spoke Creole, but then he had the accent into it. So even when I speak Mende, the accent was so clear. These people said, "Oh, I'm a rebel." because most of the Timini people you will not even dare go that end during the war, they will kill you.
Wow.
They will kill you. And I'm telling you, that war was
Pay attention
becoming
to them
tribalistic.
for a long time, and that is really sad because I don't know why, that's really sad, and that's one thing that needs to be fixed in Sierra Leone moving forward, because the reality is we all came to that place. The people that was there before anyone else are the Limbas, and the Limbas are the most poor people. They're the owners of land.
They are the most calm people. That's true.
Yes. But the thing is, like with us, our ancestors came from the Mali Empire we already had more in common, and we already got similar cultures and a lot of similar ways. But I can see the tension between the Timini and the Mende. That even my late dad, he always said to me, he said, I hope they sort this problem out because it's a big shame, me, I never had any bad experience from one Mende person, bruv. In Guinea, we used to live with a Mende family in our house in Guinea. And when I moved out of my family home and I went to another area in Guinea called Sangoya, I used to live with a guy, a Timni family, so I never see one single problem, but I think it's politics that's creating that divide between the two tribes. Do
you mind if I ask you guys a question? So what ethnic group dominates the politics of Sierra Leone?
Is the two tribes that we're talking about.
The two Timini and Mende.
Yeah, you can see why the problem is politics. And if you go back deep inside, the Mende and the Timini at the moment, they're getting into marriage. It's very common now, and things was getting better. But I think anytime it comes to political season, and it heighten up. It's like the North and the South in Nigeria. You got the Northerners and the Southerners, but in Sierra Leone it's more simple because you got the Mende and the Timini, which are the most.
Basically the same. The Southeast are the Mendes, the North and the West are the Timini. Because Timini still win Freetown. I mean, APC still win Freetown and the North.
Yeah, that's a region.
SLPP win the East and the South.
Yes.
So you guys have only 16 tribes in Sierra Leone?
Yes, you can say 17, 18, because there are other tribes that are part of Guinea. And
what tribe are you? And the other guy, what tribe are you from Nigeria?
My tribe is Ijebu, but my ethnic group is Yoruba.
Yoruba. Idris, the Yorubas, the Creole in Sierra Leone, some of them are Yoruba. You know that?
Yes.
Like Mami Femi Cole, she's Yoruba.
Yes.
Yes, because during slavery, the Creoles are slaves. They are a combination of different African ethnicities.
Yes, but those ones are Yoruba.
But they are dominated by the Yorubas. That's true.
Yes. We have some little bit of Igbos, like we're ex-Igbo slaves and all other slaves, to be honest. But majority of them that came there were
one of the most popular returned slave, Samuel Ajayi Crowther. The guy was a Yoruba that was taken by the British to, I believe it was Brazil, and then repatriated in the late 18th century back to Sierra Leone before he made his way back to Nigeria. And that was the first person that translated the English Bible to the Yoruba language, Samuel Ajayi Crowther. So I just wanted to say that there is that relationship between the southwestern region of Nigeria and some parts of Sierra Leone. But other than that, I wanted to ask you guys a question about, you guys are seeing the conversation these days about United States is losing its grip on Africa. And then you have African countries openly supporting Russia, China, going against UK and the US, which I agree with completely. The only thing I don't agree with is when people are celebrating their relationship with China like they are a par. I feel like it's a father-son relationship still, just like it was between America and many African countries. Still the same father-son.
They just know how to make it like we are brothers.
So why are people celebrating this? Why are they happy that they are now going to be sons to Russia and China?
Yeah, I think that's, to be honest with you,
these people said,
but the thing is,
Russia just wrote off their debt, and I am saying, and that's what you want to celebrate? You don't think all what they gave them is more room to steal?
Yeah, Is to be honest with you, I said that before. I don't trust the Russians in Africa at all. I don't trust them because, for example, Guinea been controlled by the Russians after the Guinean drove the French out. Like Guinea is a bauxite country, which is the second largest bauxite producer. And most of that bauxite been taken away from Guinea by the Russians, but we haven't seen the benefits, right? And what the only thing they do is to give
Why
Guinea
would you
more
see the
arms.
benefits? Do you think really Russia have anything to give?
They have nothing to offer, to be honest.
They have nothing to offer. So I don't know why.
Guys, and this is why I'm so careful when it comes to dealing with human beings in general, because sometimes when you try to be you try to form a clan with certain people, like, oh, this guy is my brother, that guy is my brother, oh, I need to respect this person. You have to be careful because for example, in South Africa, Julius Malema, who I respect a lot, I love Julius Malema. He speaks out the way he feels. He says it the way millions of Africans agree with. But Julius Malema,
But he don't have the brains to lead any country. He will not lead South Africa. If he wouldn't even lead, it would just be the same failure because he has a small man's mentality. Look, the fact of the matter is, I think he is.
Bro,
the fact
you know
of the
what I
matter
think,
is,
bro?
Africans, we are so emotional. We like emotional statements.
That's
They
the thing, man.
they gene us up so well. My God.
Like, one has to be careful because now, as a South African, if you openly come out and say, no, Julius Malema, I disagree with you. You might like Putin all you want, but that doesn't mean that I like or trust Russia. Now you're going to be the enemy for saying that. Do you see what the problem is?
Yeah.
You're trying to be a man of yourself that thinks the way you are trying to be an independent thinker. You're seeing things the way they present themselves. You're being logical. But people are going to go against you for speaking against who they adore. In this case, Julius Malema.
Do you know? To be honest with you, just off topic a little bit. Going back, I know we've been talking about Sierra Leone, but I'm to be honest with you, if Nigeria, your country, was to get things right, you see, people like country like Sierra Leone, all these other countries would be in a better place because
Bro,
I think.
don't worry. We are not going to get it right. If it's Nigeria you're waiting for,
No,
bro,
we're not waiting for you. We're not
you're
waiting for
wasting
you.
your
We're
time.
not waiting for
Nigeria is not
Nigeria.
going to get it right. Forget about that.
We never did because listen, if we used to help you guys, I mean, majority of Nigerians to come to Sierra Leone to educate themselves and go back and also, in fact, a lot of Nigerians used to come to Sierra Leone to obtain passport to travel abroad because it was easier for them. So, but over the years, based on the industrialization that is happening in Nigeria, which I looking at some of the fact that Nigeria is becoming more industrialized. I know corruption is rife, but if that process was to carry on, you know, we like smaller countries, we could actually be looking to buy from you guys.
When you say Nigeria is becoming industrialized,
I
actually disagree with you.
Okay.
It's not. The rate of growth of population, the rate of consumption of Nigerians is lower than the rate of industrialization.
Right.
So
The population is growing.
There is nothing special about what is going on. It's like you telling me, oh, you guys need to celebrate that you have the first LRT, light rail transport. Why should I celebrate that in 2022? When we should have had that in 1975.
I will give you an example of, for example, if you were to, like, the cement factory that you have in Nigeria, in Kogi State, if we were to have some like some kind of contract where we can get cement directly from you guys instead of having to import cement from China, that would help the Sierra Leone rebuild their country because it would have been cheaper, like having some kind of arrangement. Because Dangote, for example, is a Hausa Fulani. And we have a lot of business Fula people in Sierra Leone.
I see you like the Fullers because they are Fullers.
No, it's not.
Dangote is not the solution so much for Africa, though.
No, but I'm just saying.
Part of it, but to be honest,
Sierra Leone, I'm talking
he
about
monopolized too much. Don't you think the monopoly that he brings into countries is not as good as you think? Because those small businesses in those countries die most times when it comes there.
Let me even tell you what's funny about the Dangote analogy. Dangote's business is not for Nigeria. It's for Dangote. He's the one who benefits from the business. Nigerians don't have any infrastructure. We have nothing, bro. So if anybody tells you that, oh, Nigeria is rich because
that cement that he produced, where is that cement going to? Because is it not the largest cement factory in Africa?
Yeah, it sells
True.
they sell the cement to multiple countries, but it's not to the benefit of Nigerians.
That's
the
wrong, you
point.
see. That's
It's
wrong.
not to the benefit, bro.
So if some of our businessmen could get hold of that cement, that will help the population in the country to rebuild, because then it will be much more easier. It will actually better, because we need to intertrade. We need to start trading with one another. It's not about being this tribe or not that tribe. I'm just
What
looking at my
Dangote
country.
should be doing is empowering small businesses. If you really
Yes,
want to spread the
exactly.
wealth,
Exactly.
if you really want to spread the wealth, you will empower more small businesses and allow them to spread out. But the guy monopolizes cement business everywhere he goes. When he goes to any country, 10 chances to 1, the small cement businesses that will be there will die,
Yeah.
or he buys them out.
Is that what he does? Is it?
Oh yeah, and he is so big, he can change price and impact the smaller businessman. So when he goes there, some countries actually have stopped him in Africa from bringing their cement business there because they already had small cement factories there.
Right.
So they said no. Some countries did it.
Right.
I remember you guys had a lot of problem. I don't know what country, if it was Togo, but I know one country close to Nigeria had a problem with him bringing his cement there. It took a lot of back and forth. And he was using the free trade link, saying, oh, people are not following the free trade, so that's why they're not allowing him in their country.
Right. Yeah.
That's one flaw of free trade business anyway.
It's a trading amongst the several countries would have been great.
That's a good example. That's what I was trying to say.
That would eliminate the monopoly that is going on with China, because China has monopolized a lot of
very much.
industries in Africa.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the reason why it's impossible to break that barrier is because we have completely useless leaders, selfish, short-sighted people that only think about the billions they can have in their bank accounts
that
for the
moment.
short term.
Yes.
They don't think about the future. Okay.
And also our businessmen don't work together. They all work individually. They always set up their own little shops. And
That businessman is trying to get more than he can get.
That exactly.
He don't want to allow the other person to succeed.
Like your brother said earlier, the way you can thrive as a businessman, you have to align politically. You have to align with politicians.
Oh yes.
So at the end of the day, even the businessman doesn't care about you. He cares about himself.
You was against that earlier when I mentioned Bilo Barry.
No, but he's still against it. That's what he's saying. He's saying that's not good because the government, because this businessman don't want to deal with you, the layman in the street. They come, they align themselves with the government and do whatever they want to do.
What I was trying to say, government and business need to work together. If you to kickstart, once the private sector, for private sector to actually work, you need to work with the government, right? You can't just work on your own because the government have to lay down these policies. They have to build the infrastructure.
Yeah, but what you are saying though is that as much as the business have to work with the government, but there should be laid down parameters that they should follow. That's what we are saying. We are not saying they should not work. You have to work with government, but we are saying it should be for the benefit of the whole nation.
Because, bros, you guys live in Western countries. I'm sure you noticed in these Western countries with strong economies, these small businesses are the heart of the countries. These small businesses employ people, So maybe if we can adopt some of that methodology in our African countries, we can maybe improve the poverty situation. And the reason I'm saying this is because you see, we Nigerians, we currently have 133 million people living in extreme poverty.
Yes, that is true. You have the highest in the world, percentage-wise in the world. Yes, but China have numbers more than you guys.
We even surpassed India. That shows
no,
you
listen.
Listen,
bro. One region in India is poorer than the entire African continent. Just one region.
No, we are talking about statistically.
No, but that's
proportionately,
what I'm saying.
They are. That is true.
By far, India is still by far the poorest place in the world. By one region in India is poorer than the entire African continent, bro.
Bro, you need to show us that statistic.
Okay, Google it now. Let me find.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at it.
Yes.
The number of people living in multi-dimensional poverty. and that has a
No,
definition.
no, okay, no. Just listen, right? One region in India, I looked at this about 2 weeks ago. One region in India, and I looked at different stats, not just one. One region in India is poorer than the entire African continent. I know there's poverty in Africa, but the type of poverty that we have is totally different to the one that they have in India. We've got to get
What's
that
the population of India? I know it's about 1 billion.
1.4 billion in a little
And how
landmass
much
like
is
that.
Africa?
1.4 billion.
Okay.
Bro,
work that out.
The point is, in general,
No, statistically, Nigeria have the highest number of poor people in the world. That is true. Statistically, but when you talk about number-wise, China have the highest.
In the entire world,
India
three
is still the number one, not China.
Countries make up 50% of global poverty: Nigeria, India, and Congo. And that's just the actual fact.
Yeah, but that's true. But one region, in terms of population, one region in India is,
I don't know, bro. Are you trying to make me feel better about that? Oh, we're better. Because that doesn't make me feel any better, bro.
But that's a fact also. So get that right.
Bro, it changes nothing. India has space programs. Okay. India has technology. They're actually advanced.
But basically, what I'm trying to say to you is one region in one country is poorer than the entire African continent. I mean, if that doesn't ring the alarm bell, what else can?
No, bro, that definition is not explicit. I don't even understand.
No, it's not. That's me too. I don't understand it though.
I 100% got the statistic. I don't know, and I don't want to come off here. Then I might not come back in, but I definitely will post that on the link for Dennis one day. He can show you that. But that's 100% fact. The population is massive, and in India, the entire African continent is 1.4. The entire India as a country is 1.4. In fact, it's the second largest Indian population is actually living in Africa. And when you hear about India is rich, it's only a tiny amount of Indians that have the money. And majority of these Indians made their money in East Africa, and they came to
in Africa now.
Yeah. They came with the money. Some of them came with the wealth to the UK, and obviously went back to India and set up businesses. But however, we still have the potential to be richer than these people, and also the kind of poverty that you're talking about is totally different, because how these people measure poverty is slightly different, right? Because people in Africa will be able to get food like land, you can grow your own food and stuff like that and feed yourself.
I know what continent are we talking about?
I don't know what part of Africa you're talking about.
In India, the land mass is not enough for the population, right?
Bro,
so many people will be competing for a small amount of land to actually grow food. So however, in Africa, the healthcare system is none to be found. So maybe that's one of the factors that they add.
You know what? This is not even the struggle Olympics. This is not a time to brag about, oh, we are poorer than these people. These people are poorer than us. No, in my opinion, I just wanted to say that at the end of the day, we all have room to grow, especially we Africans. It would have been great if West African countries can come together and form one union. In my opinion, that's what I feel like
that would benefit you more in Nigeria, because your population is massive. The landscape you have is very tiny.
Bro, you don't even understand that we Nigerians, many of us don't even see ourselves like we have a country. You don't even understand that, bro.
I noticed that, and that's really unfortunate.
And it's unfortunate, man. It wasn't this way until in the last 10 years, I would say. People have lost hope. People just feel like, okay, I'm stateless.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of African countries felt the same, but they're not that much unpatriotic. They're trying to fix it, because I see Nigeria calling it.
You can't really teach people
and
how
I'm thinking,
to react.
how can you come from a country and you call the country a zoo? It's like, come on, man. You need to be. We all come from poverty, stripe, but you need to just have a bit of respect, and also you have to have that self-confidence and have a bit of patriotic in you. Because if you're not patriotic, how your country is going to go forward? This is what build this country, build this nation, is patriotism. If you don't have it, then you have nothing.
Have you heard about other countries splitting up into smaller countries?
I don't believe in that, and I think any country that lead to that direction, they actually run into the wall.
So you don't agree with Ukraine when it's split out of Russia?
Look at what's happening now.
Okay, wait. Are you saying they should have remained in Russia?
Yes.
But why would you teach people how to, bro? This is like you're like an imperialist. Right now, I'm here to let you know straight up. You have the
Fine.
mindset of the people you criticize.
Right. Okay. That's fine. The reason why I'm saying this is because if Ukraine was still part of Russia, there won't be people dying in the street right now. They won't be having the situation that they currently in. And at the same time, I never seen any country that divide itself that actually, gain any benefit from it. I'll give you an example. I live in the UK where
You haven't seen any country that split and had any benefit.
I'm currently suffering from that. We vote to leave the EU. And right now, is our biggest regret doing that. A lot of people that voted 2016 to exit the EU, if you ask them, I work with a lot of these guys, they regretted it. They wish to go back to the EU because the UK is suffering big time. The pound dropped like 15%. You haven't recovered since then.
Okay, what about other countries?
And Scotland, for example, Scotland that always trying to basically trying to gain independence. They already been told, years ago they was clamoring about independent. Then the global oil market fell because they had the oil in the North Sea. Yeah, they were like, oh, we're gonna take the oil in the North Sea with us when we get the independent and that. And then all of a sudden the oil price tumbled. So if they was to exit, for example, England, they would have been suffering because the EU wouldn't even let them come into the EU with all that.
The EU was not even a country, bro.
But it's a block. It was a country.
Different from a country. It's easier to leave a block than to leave a country.
Well,
that's the point. And the second point. Look
at North Sudan and South Sudan. North Sudan and South Sudan.
You're looking for the bad examples, and that's the problem. You're only selecting the bad examples. What about good examples? How about you point out the good examples?
Give me one.
Why are you telling me? Wait, hold on one sec. Why are you telling me?
Give me one good example of separation. Give me one.
All those countries that surround the Soviet Union that split out of the Soviet Union,
that came into the EU. Yeah.
I don't know if they joined the ones that joined the EU.
Of course they did.
It's their choice, bro.
That's the reason why. Okay, listen. That's the reason why Ukraine is at war, because Putin said to them, "You can't join the EU because if you join the EU, you're going to be part of NATO." And you need to think logically, bro. Come on.
And this is human problem, man. We're never going to agree. All we can do is agree to disagree. You don't teach me how to react to being punished, to being enslaved in a country. If I tell you that I no longer want to be a part of a country, I would rather that country split. You're not in any position to tell me that, oh no, you're not patriotic, you need to join your country. That's how. What are you talking about, bro? You want me to remain in poverty
but you just said you wish West Africa unite as one.
Thank you very much. And these are the two options that I have. I have two options. Let me tell you two options that I have, bro. Number one option, almost unrealistic, but I'm still going to put it out there. The entire West African bloc should come together and become one country. Melting pot, all the ethnic groups come together, become one country. If that can't happen, and most likely it's not going to happen, then break up a country that is not working.
Listen. My ancestors had Mali Empire, which is one of the biggest for years, and they break up. And when that break up, look at what happened. The entire West Africa crumbled, bro. Breaking up is never. You know that anyway. Even when you're in a relationship, when you break up, there's obviously price to pay for it. It's easy being emotional and want to break up and, I want Biafra or one Yoruba land and so on. But how are you going to do it? And when, the consequences of doing so, is something you have to face. And when you face that, you're going to have to face that on your own, because you ain't going to have no one to actually help you. You're going to be on your own. And that's a sad fact you need to face.
Guess what? We are a country right now, but we are still on our own.
No, you're not.
How are we not on our own when every Nigerian is his own government? You are responsible for providing yourself with basic amenities, infrastructure, education, security. You are your own government. You literally have no running water in your house, no matter where
you are Nigeria. You're Nigeria, right? You're not Biafra or Yoruba land.
What's Nigeria? Wait, bro, what's Nigeria? What's Nigeria? Demand dipped. This guy's talking about we're Nigerian, bro. How can you tell me that we're Nigerian?
Hey, listen, we're gonna close out. But hey, everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family. Dynasty.
Love, brother. Blessings.
Peace.
All right, peace.